Hello. How you doing, Rob?
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
Tanfastic.
Tanfastic. Tanfastic. Absolutely tanfastic.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. That's wrong. Just go
Welcome to Tuesday's Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Oh, my ass, man.
Yeah. I tried taking a nap. I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have.
I had a lot of things to do today, but you know what I did instead? I took a nap. It was a very good nap. Who's this person?
Do you hear that, Fatal J? Rob should be a rap star.
I know. I'm listening. It just, was very soothing.
You know who is a rap star?
Who's a rap star? Script Doctor.
Earthquaking, booty shaking. Let's get this fucker started. Hi. Me.
Very good.
And we do have a script doctor with us. Hello, script doctor. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I've been outside all day. It's been beautiful weather where I am.
It's been beautiful weather here too.
That's awesome. Now, Jay, congratulations. You got your comic funded. That's awesome, dude.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank Midnight Edge After Dark for being a promoter of that.
It did probably hurt your chances than we helped them, but you're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You know what, script? I looked at the temperature. I have those things that monitors the temperature inside and outside. It was 69 degrees inside and 63 degrees outside. There was literally 6 degrees of separation between temperatures inside and outside.
I've been hearing a lot of people forget that it's 6 degrees and use the 7.
Fatal J is just his mind is blown.
He don't know what to think. We got a little bit of breaking news here. Helen Mirren has been cast as the villain in the role for Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
You mean the same Helen Mirren who appeared on Midnight's Edge?
Yeah, I was like, I just sort of met her.
How did I miss that show?
I don't know. I was like, it just kind of happened. You never know where lightning's gonna strike.
Oh, that's her. I see it.
Yeah.
The lovely Dame Helen Mirren.
Oh man, and she's an awesome, spectacular actress, man. Oh, yeah. I love her stuff.
Oh, she's a legend.
Yeah.
Living legend, even better.
Yeah, it was a fun reunion there.
Okay, well, I just got to say, I have an upgrade I need to perform to Geode. Okay, I went out and
you get googly eyes.
Yes, I did. I got the googly eyes. See?
I love this man.
Geode is going to receive an upgrade within a couple of days. Well, look, see, it already has more emotion than Brie Larson.
It does. And Darius Munchausen helped paid for those. He sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much.
All 97 cents at Walmart.
Hey, he covered them almost. Then Steve Otten says, hail Tom, Rob, Fatal, Jay, Script, Wrenches, and everyone in the chat. Well, thank you so much for that, Stephen. And I would like to say hello to everybody in the chat.
I do too.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. So yeah, Fatal, your comic book is doing well.
Yes, sir. It's doing absolutely well. And I'm trying to get to different stretch goals so we can just take it to another level and I can provide people with more cool stuff.
It's always important to have stretch goal because you never know. You could be outside, you could be doing work in the garden, they could pull a muscle, then you have to end up in traction for a couple of days. I had that happen.
It's very important.
I pulled something in my back. I didn't stretch properly.
And you know what I'm gonna tell you else, Rob. You need to stretch before you do extracurricular activities. Because a lot of people don't realize that can hurt you too.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Life advice here on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
That's right.
We are not. We need neither myself nor Script Doctor nor Jay nor Tom are medical professionals. Always consult the advice of a certified doctor.
Big shout outs to Mecha Random. I feel like Mecha Random should get the YouTube award for the best female YouTuber ever.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how I feel. I like watching her stuff.
No arguments there. And I just shared the link to Ninja Blast in the chat. So if you haven't gotten Ninja Blast yet, what the hell's wrong with you? Get off your ass.
Yeah.
You get Ninja Blast.
Get blasted with some ninjas.
Get your ass blasted.
Most definitely. I got blasted a lot of times when I was younger. Now I'm paying for it, but still.
That almost went a bad place, and then it went well. But yeah, I'm glad to see you're doing well on that, and you guys need to check that out. Ninja Blast. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a blast, I promise you. Every page by page, I'm trying to put everything into it. I don't want it just to be a boring read. I want it to be a spectacular read, something that you will remember and something that you will crave more, something that you keep craving, you know?
That's awesome, man.
All right.
I want you to crave it like you know, you just went through that bad breakup and you see that Haagen-Dazs in the refrigerator. I want you to crave it like that. You know,
Ninja Blast will fill a void in your heart and soul, one that you never knew was missing.
Yeah, fill that void up. You know.
Now, Jay, are there plans for more in the Ninja Blast series?
I have a 3-issue plan in my head, and if people crave more, then I have a cool origin stories, and that's pretty much where it stops.
Oh, there you go. All right, see, that's breaking news right here. Breaking news. So I got the breaking
news.
I got the
better than breaking wind.
Only here on Midnight's Edge. That's where we do it. You know, the exclusive.
You get the big breaking news music. See that?
Hey,
Jedi 6 asks, who keeps their Haagen-Dazs in the fridge?
Sorry,
somebody who wants melted Haagen-Dazs.
Hey, this is Fatal J reporting for Midnight's Edge. I just want to tell you guys out there, the news is you're all awesome. I want to be like Rob when I grow up. Tom has reached God-tiered level. I want to be like him. Script Doctor is the man that don't nobody understand except his woman. Back to you, Rob. Back to you.
Well, if Jay, you want to be like me when you grow up. I mean, we already have the same hairline, so I mean.
Sad part is you guys are only like 2 years apart. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
He's got a good hairline. Look at that. Look at that young man. Take that hat off. Take that hat off. Nikki D says, thoughts on Black Widow going to D+. Is Disney not confident in the return of theater? That is on the docket for the news today, Nikki D. That just came across the
Well, we called that essentially like through high suspicions months ago.
As I say around here normally, in the fond words of Walter Goggins.
I fucking knew it. Oh.
We'll get to that. We have that on the docket for sure. Count Falconer sends in £5. Says Michael Keaton was asked about the Flash in a recent interview. Did he, between the lines of his reply, insinuate that the script sucks and he's exiting? I don't think they've signed him officially yet. I think is the deal. What do you think, Script?
I haven't heard any movement on another. I mean, this would be the 4th iteration of this Flash film. I haven't heard any movement on it since the previous article where they were opening up talks with Michael Keaton and supposedly be Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck somehow making cameos or something of that nature. Yeah. That was the last I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Warner was keen on getting him signed on to a couple of appearances, so that might be what's holding things up. So we'll see. Diego Flores says Annie Signor is talking about UFOs. Did his celebration about Warner supposedly killing Snyderverse break him, or what? I have no idea. I don't know what Andy does. I just know the guy. Tiberius Monk says, what up, Midnighters? Also, Fatal J sounds like a Mortal Kombat name. It does. Fatal J. Get over here. Fight.
Well, Blow. Fatal J's finishing move is a Ninja Blast.
It is. Finish him. Scorpion, Raiden, Fatal J. Also, happy belated birthday to Shatner. Yes, Shatner turned 90 yesterday. That is true.
He doesn't look 90 though.
No,
No, he doesn't.
Ronan
fantastic.
Medic, yeah, he does look fantastic for his age. Says, been gone for 6 weeks, doing work. Got back to the States last night. Have I missed anything? Do I need to distance myself from something?
Yes.
No, you're good. You're good. Stay away from anybody who has COVID, though.
Yeah.
That you might want to do. But I think you already knew that if it was only 6 weeks. Jatality.
Oh, that's cool too.
He gave you the ninja blast.
Okay, now Midnight's Edge or the big movie guys. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, okay, I usually can tell by the trailers if the movie is going to be a piece of dong. I can't really tell with this Mortal Kombat trailer. What you guys think?
I don't know. I every time I like it, script goes and makes me feel like shit about it.
Listen, I want to be cautiously optimistic on this, but I know one of the I don't know personally, but I know the style of one of the writers that came in after the script was purchased to work it out, and I'm not a fan of his work because he's done Wonder Woman 84, Zombieland 2, movies that haven't really performed so well with audiences and the like. So
yeah,
I mean, I think it's gonna have some amazing fight choreography and death scenes and stuff in there for sure.
I agree,
but I think it's going to be something where those clips will eventually get on YouTube and people will be watching that more than actual movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we all watch the parts of the movie we want to watch anyway. I mean, that's kind of how it works now.
Well, I mean, Rob, you have Eurotrip, right? You watched only the nude scene stuff on that. That's a feature on their DVD.
Wait a minute. Wait. There's nude scenes in Eurotrip?
Yeah.
I've avoided this movie for that long.
It's got some good jokes in it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is called Euro Trip. I mean, that's all the Europeans do is get naked. I mean, come on.
I thought it was a documentary about the European monetary system.
What?
Euro Trip.
No, but they do address some of the European monetary system in there as a joke.
Damn, I've been lied to.
Put the crack pipe down. Nobody lied to you, Rob. Nobody lied to you but yourself. I hate to break it to you. Midnight's Edge needs to interview the guy who played Keno in TMA. Oh, hell yeah. I'd interview Ernie Reyes Jr. Fuck yeah. Dark Shadows. That was him. Yeah. Ernie Reyes Jr., the actor.
Oh, you're talking about from Ghostbusters.
No.
No, that's Ernie Hudson. Ernie Reyes Jr. from Ninja Turtles 1 and 2.
No, he was a little kid in
Keno, the dude that played Donatello with the first one.
Yeah. He was in the suit playing Don. He was doing Donatello's stunt work in the first movie. But yeah, he also played the little kid in Red Sonja or whatever.
I'm not trying to be racist, I promise, but I always confuse him with Rufio.
Enter the Dragon? Was he in that too?
No, he wasn't. He ain't that old, is he? He's not that old.
Oh, I think he's like in his mid-40s at the youngest.
That's what I'm
saying. The one that was the one they did in the 80s.
Okay, because I'm about to say
Return of the Dragon or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, was that the pseudo documentary on Bruce Lee?
No, never mind. Dark Shadow 308 says $2. Hail all, looking forward to the show. Probably not. You're just going to see a bunch of breakdowns here today.
I just want to say this real quick, Tom. Please forgive me if anybody think I'm wrong for this, but I always confuse Keno with the guy that played Rufio in The Hook.
Oh, yeah.
Rufio?
You know what I'm talking about? Rufio.
Yeah.
There was a fan film about Rufio's origin story that circulated a few years back. That was pretty decent.
The Last Dragon. That's what I was talking about. The Last Dragon.
Yeah, he was a little boy in that.
He's in The Last Dragon. He's in Red Sonja.
In Red Sonja, he was the little brat kid that was in there.
Evidently, he was Indiana Jones in the Temple of the Crystal Skull as one of the cemetery warriors.
He was in Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, he was in Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, he was. Surf Ninjas with Rob Schneider.
Yep.
But yeah, he also played Keno. Yeah, I'd totally talk to him.
I would too. That's like he was like big in the 80s, man.
Hell yeah.
I hope he's still doing stuff.
Cesario GPN says, saw a discussion on the new Mortal Kombat movie, and they're allegedly introducing minor bit characters from other MK games. Good grief. Well, I'm sure they're assuming it's going to be a series. I'm looking forward to it, but
I am too.
I'm hoping it's good. I hope script is just.
I hope I'm wrong too on this.
Yeah,
actually.
I wouldn't say wrong per se, but like you're just over.
I just have a
analyzing it,
fishy
maybe.
feeling
We've been
about
burned
that
a lot by
trailer.
this guy, so I mean,
Yeah, that's what. I get what you're saying. Spider Unlimited says it's a pleasure listening to you, gents, while on my way up to the recording studio. Make for a clear head and laughs.
What you recording?
Yeah.
Is you a musician?
Yeah, maybe I need you for my album. Tiberius Smoke says, I want a deleted scene in Mortal Kombat with Fatal J doing a ninja blast fatality, or Tom summoning koalas in the rain.
Koala's raining down on down knives.
Koala in the rain.
They want me to put koalas in my next book.
Why?
It's a long story, man. It'll never leave my life. I told people, I'll make it short. I told people if I ever made it big in life, the two things I want is a sea turtle for a pet, and I wanted a koala bear. And I wanted the koala bear to be on my back like a backpack, and I wanted him to dress like me, like we were always dressed the same. And I would just walk down the street, go to Walmart calmly, and feed him eucalyptus leaves. And that's how I knew. That's how I would know when Fatal J made it. Well, the thing about it, I talked to some Australian guys, Lethal Lightning in the bunch, and they told me that you don't want to do that, Fatal J. And I said, please don't crush my dreams. They said, Fatal J, you don't want to do that. And I said, why? And they said because koala bears carry chlamydia.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
And then if you carried a koala bear, you would be carrying chlamydia.
Exactly.
Koala bear.
But
I
you
did
could always
not know
put it
that.
down. So that's the other part, right? So
That hurt my heart, man.
Don't they bite your face off if they get angry too?
they're a little vicious.
Koalas, they starve to death when they lose their teeth. I mean, they're not exactly the brightest bulb in the end.
I wanted him to dress like me, like have a little snapback on and stuff. It would have been perfect.
I hate Qantas. You don't remember that advertising campaign?
I remember Qantas, but
Qantas, Queensland and Northern Territory Air Services.
Yeah. Valiant Renegade, how you doing? Says, I want Mortal Kombat to be a flawless victory so badly, but like script, I am cautiously optimistic.
It's the trailer. It's the fight scenes look amazing, but the quality, it's just the way it's shot. You can tell the story is going to be hot trash garbage. I just know it.
Yeah. Well, I got to get into the story here. Mario Pelotti, if I'm saying that right, Pelotti, sends in 10 Canadian dollars, says, this is for Rob. There is a particular festival on Geode's home planet where everybody throws stones at each other for 2 weeks. It's called Rocktoberfest. There you go. And with that, we're going to get into the... Oh, we got one more super chat here. Felicity Pubel says, Amada told us last year SC was a cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Boss lady confirmed and called fans toxic. We should have listened then. That said they were POS company. Well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get into that today, but we're going to get into some other stuff. I think Andre has a video planned for that. That whole hit piece, whatever interview you want to call it, was timed for a reason. And yeah, no wonder, says Mecha J, koalas have zero fucks to give. Cesario GPN comes in again, says, a couple other things. I saw Sonya Blade is not the Special Forces badass, but a cat lady conspiracy theorist. Oh, wonderful. And Colt, is this true, script? And Colt turns out to be redacted. I hope that's not true. I hope he's just making shit up or whatever. But yeah, for those who remember the George Lucas video with his wife that people stumbled upon here a couple weeks back. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah,
George
the one that
wife.
he did in October last year.
Yeah. Well, evidently it's been pulled down.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw Ryan Cannell did the story originally. Then Anna, that Star Wars girl's like, oh, well, guess what? I have it saved. And guess what? So do I. So we're gonna play that clip here in a minute. And
That's awesome, because I've been waiting on this, Tom. Like, this has been like a mystery to me. I've been hearing about it.
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, I heard about it, but I've never seen the video. So this is a perfect treat right here.
And Furry Kitten corrects me and says, those are drop bears, not koala bears. You can repel drop bears by smearing Vegemite behind your ears. They're not the same thing, just mad, crazy koalas. Okay, that's good to know.
Drop bears. I've never heard of that in my life.
Do koala bears mug people?
I've heard.
Kangaroos do.
Yeah, and so do monkeys.
Drop bears. Let me see. Drop bears.
All right, forget about. Okay.
Oh man, those mother down. First thing is a big nasty teeth. Those motherfuckers.
Oh my god, they look scary. I googled it too, Rob.
I guess they're not the same.
My name is Jeremiah. I'm in the 7th grade, and I really like Star Wars. So my question for you is, the world has changed so much since the first Star Wars movie. How do you think the changes in the fights for racial justice will impact the Star Wars universe going forward?
I don't know. I mean, I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended.
Wow.
The first 6 are very much mine and my philosophy, and I think that philosophy sort of goes beyond any particular time, because it's based on history, it's based on philosophy, it's based on a lot of things, and you know, the first 3 basically tell you how a democracy turns into a dictatorship, and you end up with a tyrant, the emperor. It's a very important now, where we are now in our political history. The other part was that in there, it's like, I purposely, all of the various colors and shapes of the aliens and everything that live in that world, it's a normal situation. There's no real discrimination. The only discrimination is against robots.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And I guess evidently it got taken down, probably because of comments.
That's right. I made them take it down. Do you have a problem with that, Tom Connors?
No, I don't.
Yes. George is my bitch now.
What'd you do to my movies?
I picked them for you
Why did you do that?
because they were full of toxic masculinity. That's why.
I hate you.
Oh, I hate you too, George. I always have.
Why would you do this to me? What did I ever do to you?
Because you got between me and Steven when I was getting him coffee.
When?
I kind of want to see this conversation in real life, actually.
I never got between you and giving people coffee.
September 3rd, 1983, on the set of Indiana Jones. That's when.
I think you're full of shit.
Oh, you would think that too. You're just like my husband. Oh, no.
It's because you are full of shit, honey. I hate to break news to you.
Oh, Frank.
Look. Just drop the Star Wars and walk away, and we'll all be all right, okay?
I can't. It's not fixed yet. I have to fix it.
It's not going to be fixed, honey. It's never going to be fixed. You killed it. It's dead.
That's what you said to me about that Buick I used to drive.
It's dead. Let it go. Congo. Oh, good Lord.
He was involved with Congo?
Yes.
Frank Marshall was, yeah.
He's the director. Dash DC says, my favorite comics growing up in part were GI Combat, Sergeant Rock, and Haunted Tank. You think Haunted Tank would get published these days? Rob, what do you think?
I don't know. I've only first heard about Haunted Tank just now. I know GI Combat and Sergeant Rock.
Sergeant Rock has an animated series that's out.
They were supposed to make a Sergeant Rock movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That would have been good.
Natasha wants to know, why does KK sound like a female Woody Allen?
It almost looks like that is like a spin-off of the other two, perhaps, if I'm not mistaken here. But yeah, I mean, by the looks of what I'm seeing here, probably not. Very masculine. It's all about blowing shit up, honey.
Frank could make that movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's my kind of movie.
That's my kind of shit. Nikki D says, not sure if KK is a competent director anymore or producer anymore. Jesus, I'm just making shit up. But I'm sure she makes a mean cup of coffee. That's probably why she makes a shitty cup of coffee. They're like, look, why don't you just produce?
If you're really bad at something, sometimes they'll promote you so that you can fail miserably.
Exactly. But then she just turned out to get lucky.
Or you become someone else's problem.
Yeah, that too. The other news, as one of our super chats let us know earlier, Cruella and Black Widow are coming to Disney Plus, along with other films shifting their dates.
And still, no, not one single frame of Eternals.
Yeah.
How bad does this movie have to be that they're?
I'm thinking it's bad.
Like, to bury it.
I'm thinking it's bad too.
Yeah,
bad. It's
unfortunate
beyond
because it
bad.
likes a lot of the cast members.
Yeah, it's no excitement, you know.
Yeah, I said about 5 years ago, I says I think you're going to make an Eternals movie, and I didn't think it would be this big a mess.
It might end up like the Gambit movie. Remember rumors about the Gambit movie and it never happened?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
With Tatum.
I think they ended up having to pay him for that too, because I think it was a pay or play. Darius wants to know if Black Widow's still going to be in theaters. Well, Rob, why don't you let us know?
Mm-hmm. Black Widow Cruella to debut on Disney Plus and in theaters. See, there's your answer. As Disney shifts dates for 7 films, brought to us by Rebecca Rubin of Variety. As most moviegoing slowly begins to rebound in the U.S., it appears Hollywood studios aren't ready yet to release their biggest blockbuster hopefuls on the big screen. All that is to say, Disney has massively overhauled its upcoming slate of and amended release plans for Black Widow, Emma Stone's Cruella, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Who Cares, really, Pixar's Luca, and several others. Notably, Black Widow and Cruella will now premiere on Disney Plus at the same time they open in theaters. Cruella is arriving as scheduled on May 28th, while Black Widow has been pushed back 2 months and will debut on July 9th instead of May 7th. Oh, really? They're pushing it back too, huh?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Both titles will be offered on Premier Access, which comes with a $30 rental fee. Fuck, you're paying for Disney Plus already. You got to pay another $30 on top of that. Hey, I got your $30 right here. All right. Black Widow's move means that Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of Who Cares, which was previously set for early July, was bumped back to September 3rd. It's expected to have a traditional release in theaters. Really? That's coming this year?
Yeah.
I know Shang-Chi's got karate in it, but still, who the fuck is Shang-Chi?
It's going to suck.
Hey, it ain't going to be no Ninja Blast, which you can back now on Indiegogo.
Exactly.
Ain't that right, Fatal J?
It's not going to come close, and nobody want to see a Bruce Lee imitate, because that's what Shang-Chi is. All he is Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm. Why watch that when I could watch the real thing? Meanwhile, Pixar's animated coming-of-age adventure, Luca Brazzi sleeps with the fishes, won't play in theaters and instead is launching exclusively on Disney Plus at no extra cost on June 18th. Despite the massive refocus on streaming, Disney doesn't plan to entirely ditch theaters. Numerous smaller titles, mostly those inherited from 20th Century Fox, have been postponed but will bow solely on the big screen, including Free Guy, The Kingsman, I should say The Kingsman, not The Kingsmen. That's a completely different movie. Deepwater, January 14, 2022, and Death on the Nile, February 11th, 2022.
We actually have a preview of The King's Man.
We do?
Yes, I'm looking for a partner. I will have him. I will call him my queen.
Oh.
You enjoy it. It's your favorite movie. It does have karate in it.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay. Sweet.
Free Guy already did a promotional thing for eventual dates because of the pandemic on a Zoom meeting. They did it up to, I think, 2041.
They're pushing it back that far. 2041. Wow, that's
well.
amazing.
Those are the jokes they're making in theaters. Like, this month, 2041, or I think was one of the years they went to.
At this point, that's probably not. That doesn't seem like a joke.
Yeah, they did it as a joke in December, but it looks like one of those dates that they jokingly did might be actually the real one.
What? That movie's finally coming out. Oh, look at me. I was so young back then.
It'll be Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's kids at the premiere in their old age on behalf of their parents who have passed away years prior.
I remember making this movie. It was...
I want to ask you guys this question real quick, real fast.
The Fatal J's plugging the comic book again.
No, I want to ask this question real quick, real fast. Black Widow supposed to come out last year? Do you guys think this will be a successful movie, or will the pushback hurt? Because we see a lot of this with certain movies. They do all these pushbacks and it don't work out.
I think this has more to do with the pandemic, but I'm curious what you guys think. But while you guys are letting your thoughts be known, Matt G has reminded us that you can buy Mandy's book as well, and also save the link in the chat. And we also have Valiant Renegade joining us here. How you doing, Valiant Renegade?
Greetings all. Thanks for having me on, Tom. Big honor. Appreciate it.
Man, your voice sounds like the radio guy I listened to this morning. Are you him?
I don't know what channel are you. No, Fatal J. No, I get that a lot, but I appreciate it. It's a compliment. I will take it, and it's an honor to share the stage with you, man. I love watching your stuff.
Hey there, 22 here in Dallas. Coming up again, another 40 minutes of uninterrupted music. Starting off with Supertramp.
Mr. Renegade.
Rob and I will be able to have like a radio voice off at some point one day. I think that's what everybody would love, because we can sit here, we can do the sing along with Tom and everything else. And by the way, Tom, congratulations on the iTunes release. I have it in my library now.
Oh wow!
Because I've got the iTunes monthly subscription thing. So I don't know how that works. Like, because I don't pay for individual downloads anymore. When I buy stuff, I just add it to the library. So I don't know how if you get credit for that, but hopefully it does. And but hopefully you've made it, and congratulations for making the top 100 this week on Casey Kasem's top 40.
Now, number one with a bullet. Here's Tom Connors.
No.
Just kidding.
We got listen. You got to. Someone use their fucking brain. We come out of an up-tempo record. I got to do a long death dedication.
I gotta do a dedication to a dead fucking dog.
Yeah, he did some of those. I remember as a kid having the radio on and listening to Casey Kasem on the weekends when he would do the top countdown. I mean, I'd be in my room playing with freaking Star Wars toys, for God's sake, and Casey Kasem on in the background. Fond memories.
Now
don't nobody shoot me.
Week in a row. Here's Los Lobos with Lubba.
Don't nobody shoot me.
Big deal.
I still remember when Roxette and The Look was on the top in the Casey Kasem stuff.
Now here's Roxette for a third week in a row with The Look.
And this week, shooting up to number one, dethroning Sister Sledge, it's The Knack with My Sharona.
We can tell when Rob was listening.
Yeah.
Hey, don't nobody shoot me. I didn't know who Casey Kasem was until I seen that Saved by the Bell episode.
Zoinks.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
You do know now, though, that he's like the voice of Shaggy and all that stuff, though, right?
What?
Yeah.
Hey,
He did the voice of Shaggy. He was Robin, I think, for one of the Batman cartoon series back then.
Renegade, you just saw.
Jay's mind is gone.
Did you just see that?
I saw his mind blow out his left ear there.
What? He did Shaggy?
Yeah, the original Shaggy voice. Yeah.
Oh, Jedi 6,
Come on, Scoob.
hyper-caffeinated. You haven't heard me hyper-caffeinated yet. Come on, man.
Kids, you
Like,
really
I'm
do
so
learn
hungry.
something new every day. You really do.
I'm so high. Stephen Otten says, do you think they'll cut Army Hammer out of Death on the Nile? Only half kidding. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh, come on.
Ooh.
Oh, come on.
You know, though, if the movie ain't out yet and they're done filming it, I would not put it past them to avoid some bad press. What do you think, Script? Do you think they're above doing that?
Not really. if it's feasible for them to get away with it,
That's the guy eating people, right?
Yeah, that's the guy who admitted he liked to eat people.
Though, Tom, those guys. The fun part though of watching Scooby Doo was the after the intro, and then you see who the guests are. Today Scooby Doo is joined by the Harlem Globetrotters, or whatever.
Well, that was usually the Scooby Doo Saturday morning movies, though.
Yeah.
I got almost all those on Blu-ray. There's only like 2 of them missing for some reason. I forgot which ones.
I miss the days of Saturday morning cartoons. God.
This week we're joined by Sonny and Cher.
Batman and Robin. I think the for some reason the what's his face from Smokey and the Bandit. Jesus Christ.
Burt Reynolds?
No. This Jerry Reed. For some reason, I think the Jerry Reed episode isn't on there, and there's another one. I wonder if Jerry Reed sings in it. That might be why. That's a good question. Nelson Shrita says, will there be a $1 billion movie this year ever? Not this year, but yeah, we'll have another one again.
Okay, but let's talk about Dune.
Let's
Dune?
not.
Let's do it.
Dune?
I'm gonna get to the meat now. You guys,
I don't know if Dune was ever going to be a $1 billion movie, even if it was a normal year, but it is getting a lot more attention than I thought it would be. Because there was a point there, I think it still is, beating the Batman trailer.
Yep.
And it came out after the Batman trailer.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. Again, that's just one thing to go by. But I am surprised how much interest seems to be in that film. They dropped the toys. The toys seem to be selling well already.
That's my movie of the year right there. Besides
so
the Snyder Cut. Besides the Snyder Cut, that's my movie of the year, Dune.
I'm with you on that one, Jay. I was a fan of the book. I haven't read it in, good Lord, a long time. I was one of those guys that I did actually kind of enjoy the 80s version of the movie, as campy as it was.
Same here.
Kyle MacLachlan. It was Patrick Stewart was in it. I mean,
I keep telling everybody though, and please don't throw darts at me. The Sci-Fi Channel series is better.
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed the Sci-Fi Channel series. I'm with you on that one as well. And I think, look, I'm jaded. I'm a fan of the story, so it would be extraordinarily hard to just piss me off. The movie would have to be complete shit, and be so blown to hell. I'm hoping it's not. Again, it's like Mortal Kombat. When I did the Super Chat thing, I was like, I'm cautiously optimistic, but damn, do I want that movie to be a blowout good.
Yeah, me too.
And that's right. Vincent Price was on Scooby-Doo. So for the next few Super Chats, I'm going to read them as Vincent Price.
Let's get the Thriller music out.
You're missing a little bit of the list that he has.
Hi, gents. Is that
There
better?
you go. Oh, God, that's really good. That's kind of creepy.
I know I do a pretty good Vincent. Roger H sends in a super sticker. I'm willing to bet it's a thumbs up, but if it's not, I'm wrong and I sound like a tool. Goddess of Whim, also here today. Thank you so much for showing up. Says pushing Black Widow for the 4th time. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is like the 4th time. Why does Disney actively hate me? Is this what 31 years of loyalty gets me? Disney is a house burning down right now. That's all I can say, Goddess. Lord only knows what they're thinking. As Andre likes to say, they're doing shit that only makes sense in their own minds.
ASMR Vincent Price.
I thought Vincent Price was Lucifer.
He was a lot of characters, dude.
Oh, yeah. House of Wax.
Or did you actually think Vincent Price was Satan incarnate himself?
I did. No. Like when I was a young kid, I was like, okay, that's the devil. And but out of respect out of Vincent Price, because he always played that horror stuff. You know?
That was
You
it.
know,
That was his thing.
No disrespect, Vincent Price. And I know you're not here, but I'm just saying.
No, Jay, I would rather fuck you than kill you.
That's dark, man. Vincent Price is hanging out with Christopher Lee now. So they're off having a
I've got like I wouldn't call them outtakes, but it's from the Thriller session, and he like does the whole thing. And he's like, "Is that good, Michael?" This is Vincent Price with Michael, and you're listening to Thriller.
This is Vincent Price.
We need to do like a Vincent Price marathon one day, maybe for Halloween this year.
He's like, yeah, it just like when somebody told me he was gay for the first time, I'm like, what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
At first you're just like, no, what? Yeah. That mustache, those clothes, totally gay. Totally gay.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of totally gay, Vigilante Williamson is not. Last time I checked.
What an intro.
We can't hear you, Vigilante.
Can you hear me now?
We can now.
You sound good. Okay. Sound good and look good.
Hey, appreciate it. Fatal J, I feel honored to be on with Fatal J.
Why is everybody saying that? I'm a nobody, okay? I'm nothing.
You're Fatal J. You're the man. But real quick, Tom knows this has to happen. Vigilante Wilson on the first episode of Midnight Edge After Dark that I've ever been on. I've streamed with Tom quite a bit. This is the first time I've been with him, and I like that. Not gay, not gay. Unless
he said unless.
No, but speaking of that, if you think about it, like think about Vincent's voice for a minute. Everybody, they think it's scary, but if you think about it, it sounds like your gay uncle.
Well, Vincent Price had a smooth ass voice.
Yeah,
I get it.
You should see some of his interviews.
Go over there and get me some wine, will you? Like that's not scary. Could you put on some records?
Yeah.
I've been trying to mimic that. I've been trying to mimic that laugh the whole time. Like when George Lucas pretty much said that Star Wars going the other way, I wanted to do that laugh like the end of Thriller. But I can't do it.
Hold on.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I do got it. Always handy. Thriller. Rhino.
Oh, I got it somewhere too.
Very nice.
I got it somewhere too. And then when you open it up, he got the pet tiger. The look tiger cub.
Yeah. That was the 8. They had to actually have a tiger. There wasn't no photoshopping.
That was Michael Jackson showing how rich he was.
And then
his tiger.
Some people have a Rolex on their arm. Michael Jackson got a baby tiger.
I want to have a baby tiger for that show. Why, Michael? What do you need a baby tiger? Because it just shows how much money I got.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike Tyson did it too.
Yeah, he did. Mike Tyson
did it.
Ball on these hoes.
And then he got his own cartoon show, which I freaking love.
Oh, Mike Tyson
cartoon show is great.
Yes.
Norm, the Pigeon. It's really good.
Yes. Oh God, I love that show. I'm sorry. That's like a guilty pleasure for me. The Mike Tyson's Mysteries. Oh God, man, that's great.
He's great in it. He's not afraid to make complete ass out of himself, which obviously I'm not either. So I really appreciate that.
And then Dash DC says, dream duo for a horror movie, Vincent Price and Marty Feldman as his sidekick. Has to be in black and white though. Rob and I might be able to make that happen. I'm sure he can do some Marty Feldman voice. Maybe.
Rob, wake up, sleepyhead.
He's still muted. He might not realize it.
He's dead.
Yeah, I got him. It happens.
He's cutting another promo for Mecca.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, check out Ninja Blast. Now, while I got you guys here, the other topic I wanted to get into, I didn't want to get into all the drama, but I did want to ask, do you guys really think that Ann Sarnoff is right, that there is no future for the Snyderverse going forward? Is it history? Is it done and over with? Was this just a one-time deal, or is she blowing a lot of smoke to kill the momentum? Let's start with you, Jay, because I know you're the biggest Snyder fan here.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
What's your feelings on this whole interview that basically killed all momentum of any kind of Snyderverse going forward?
Well, I analyzed the report that came out from Variety, and it's just like Lucasfilm. It's a big split within the company. With the Snyder Cut coming out, that was a big glitch in the matrix. They are tired of Snyder. They don't want anything to do with the Snyderverse. But I truly believe, even though we might not get a big Justice League Zack Snyder theater movie version or whatever, I think we're going to see some stuff on HBO Max. Now, this is what I'm wondering, because I'm still out of the loop with that lady. Does she dictate what happens on HBO Max? Because I always thought Jason Kilar was the man to go to when it comes to HBO Max. That's what I'm wondering right now. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
As far as I know, what Jason Kilar is doing is he's kind of just
he was hired there to fire people, technically.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I was gonna say, he's kind of cutting the fat in Warner's.
Got you. So is this woman like is she kind of like the Bob Iger or Kevin Feige? What is she in this realm?
She'd be more like a Bob Iger.
Wow. So if she say it's no more Snyderverse,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm like, this kind of puts a nail in things. Like, and it's not like they've been really. I mean, look, and I know you know this, Jay, too. Like, Zach has kind of said right from the start that there's no plans to go farther than this and all that kind of business.
And nobody has even asked him, because is his heart in it? His heart might not even be in it, especially with all this controversy going on. You know, it's mostly the fans talking, but he might not want to do this anymore because he's about to do he about to drop another movie on Netflix soon.
Exactly.
A zombie movie.
And then of course there was that rumor that came out that Netflix and HBO Max are trying to court him for a deal. And I don't know if that was just much more than just trying to start some kind of bidding war, but
you know, they always do that, right? When a movie drops, a superhero movie, they're directing this movie. They're directing this movie. I don't think that's true. You know, it's just rumors floating out there, especially for the blogs and the websites to get more clicks or whatever off of the traffic of the movie. So in due time, I guess we'll see what happens.
Goddess of Whim says Rob is watching Eurotrip. That's probably what he was doing.
Eurotrip is funny.
He's like, I got to watch all the nude scenes now. So yeah, what about you guys? Script, let's jump to you next because I know you know this business. What is this about to you? What does this look like to you? And do you think that the Snyderverse has any chance at all, or is this kind of it?
I would say the chance comes back to the fans that helped make it happen. I think what she was doing is she's set this thing out to sort of clearly, because she was brought in after JJ's contract with Warner Brothers, that $500 million. So she wasn't here during the origins of Zack Snyder's run on DC films. So what she's primarily doing is she's not necessarily throwing the Snyderverse under the bus, but she is targeting certain behavior in that article. Like, it's very politically written well. Like, she's not making any accusation against Snyder fans. She's just talking about like legit behavior of like threats and whatnot, which she doesn't abide by. And I think all of us can agree on that, right? We don't want people being threatened on social media,
well, of course,
in any way.
Yeah.
But I think she's really just trying to steer the direction that with the purchase of AT&T, with J.J. Abrams' involvement with his own little thing, that DC under Warner Brothers, DC is going to go in different directions, and this Zack Snyder direction has been done, and she's trying to suggest that it doesn't need to go any further because it's already finished. It's an over and done project right now, as far as she was concerned. And I think she's trying to do that in a very sloppy way to build up all the newer projects that they want to get on the docket and announce and hyped for, as opposed to people, hanging on to technically what's considered an old take as far as Hollywood's concerned on these characters. Hollywood loves things that are new and fresh and fun. And at this point, it's been nearly 10 years since Zack Snyder gave us Man of Steel, and it's been not a very profitable 10 years of those characters from Warner Brothers' perspective. So yeah, I think this was a double-edged sword. It was like, yep, we did the Snyder Cut. I don't think we're going to do any more because we got new ideas, new directions, new things to go.
Well, see, that was always the plan, though, Script. They never wanted to go the Snyder Cut route. They always wanted to focus on the solo movies, like the 84s, the Aquamans. Now we getting Flashpoint.
Well, after BV Superman underperformed their expectations, they're like, we screwed up. We got to go. Yep. We got to do a cold restart thing. Justice League is too far in production to not do anything with it, so we got to get that out as soon as possible. How they did that with the relationship between the studio, the executives, Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon was, I would say, really, really slimy for Hollywood. But I mean, hey, the fan movement worked. Other elements out of our control came into place to allow it to be facilitated, and a lot of people got their Snyder Cut and are really happy about it. So you got to take the wins when you can. If you can't get any more, at least it's a good type of bittersweet. You got it, and it was you liked it, and no one can touch it again, so to speak, right?
Script, I got a question to ask you. But matter of fact, I got one for Renegade too. Renegade, is that a 4K TV right behind you? And Script Doctor, I want to ask you, when it comes to the Snyder Cut, how does HBO Max finagle that thing? Like, how is they getting money? Is it through the subscribers? How was they realizing this is a success? I've never understood they were streaming services.
Well, my understanding from streaming services is that as long as there's growth in the subscriptions, then it's considered a success. So if they dropped a movie and then all of a sudden there's like mass exodus of people unsubscribing, they would be like, "Ooh, we done screwed up."
Wow.
But that would have to be like the worst movie in the world in order for people to say, "Yeah, I'm not even going to look at anything else that's on this streaming service."
Gotcha.
Real quick,
Renegade, is that a 4K TV?
It is.
Gotcha.
I have a quick.
That was it. That was easy.
Don't they have the Snyder Cut available in a lot of places? Like, isn't it on? I think you can rent it on like Prime and all the other stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and outside of the US, you can get it off of like Apple and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know about domestic
HBO Max US exclusive, and then you can get it through other platforms in other countries. That's a licensing deal.
So we will kind of get to see some kind of numbers out of this. Yeah. But that's the other thing I was kind of curious was like this seemed like it was timed, and we said this before earlier in the show. Because there's no way they would know at this point yet until like yesterday or whatever, like what kind of a hit this was. And I mean, granted, I had to be the contrarian on Friday and kind of let everybody know what we saw, or Monday, and what we saw on as far as the weekend goes on the show. And I said, the longer and longer it takes for us to hear anything from AT&T about it being a hit, the less likely it was. And the more likely Warner Brothers is going to get to control the narrative on this because they can't combat it. Andre seems to think they don't give a shit. But I'm like, well, if that was the case, then why would they push all this shit to begin with? And I do think they're listening because they are very they do give a shit about their customers. That's one thing AT&T I know is one of their big things over there. I've had people who work for AT&T come to me and say, yeah, customer service is a big deal to them. If they ever get any complaints, they take it very seriously. So shit like this is kind of overwhelming them, I guess.
So Tom, let's just say today, AT&T see the success that's going on with HBO Max. Can they override whatever this Ann lady is talking about?
Yeah. But the longer they wait, the less time people are going to care.
Okay.
And not only that, people will think that it's already done for. And even if they don't decide, they're deciding they're not going to go on. At this point, she's already pretty much painted it as A, not a hit, B, a toxic film, and C, it's opened the door for all these articles and shit that are out there that I don't really want to get into, but just the whole idea of how the fandom has treated people. And I really feel like they were maybe setting up some kind of narrative about going after Walter Hamada and stuff like that, because there was a lot of people who were on Ray Fisher's side that were going after Hamada. And with, the tragedy that happened last week, there's been a lot of people tying, Asian hate to things. But I don't know, after the what we know now about the shooter and all that, maybe that stuff will calm down a little bit. Who knows?
But have y'all ever seen anything like this before where a movie is successful and they quickly shut it down? The only thing I can really think of is like when Joker came out with Joaquin Phoenix, but I have never seen something of this caliber that drawed in so many fans and then a PR move like this where I'm sorry to say thank y'all for watching, but this is not happening.
Well, that's just it. We have nothing to go on. The only things we have to go on are whatever finally comes out from the numbers. According to some analytic, I don't know exactly where they got their numbers, but they said 1.7 million people watched it this weekend, or 1.8 million, I think it was, which basically is less than watched Wonder Woman, which I can understand. There's some people are like, what? No way. I'm like, no, you guys got to stop and think.
Yeah.
You have a lot of normies out there who think they've already seen this movie, and they've got to commit to a lot to watch a 4-hour movie, as opposed to Wonder Woman, which was a direct sequel to arguably the most successful film in the DCEU. So, of course, a lot of people were going to watch Wonder Woman.
My co-worker, she said the same thing you said, Tom. She said, and I was giggling in the inside because she said, she said, I was scrolling through HBO Max, and she said they came out with Justice League again, and it's Justice versus the last one. So I could tell she didn't see it because she already thought she saw it, like Tom said.
Well, there's not just that, but there are people who are not going to dredge through a fucking 4-hour movie, especially if they think they've already seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who don't care about the unrated versions or the director's cut or the extended version. They don't care. It's not in their radar. They're not going to watch the same movie again, especially if they didn't like it the first time.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I mean, even the social media traction for this Snyder Cut from the fan side of things has actually kind of done a spike downward, and it's not through any negativity. It's just they're not talking about it as frequently as they were prior to the anticipation. Now, have that continued, I think there would have probably been a little bit more to argue that this is a really successful run of a dropping of a film, but it's kind of fallen off by Saturday, really. I mean, AT&T was pushing it all weekend and yesterday, but they've stopped at the moment. They're now on to a new subject at hand.
Script Doctor, that's a human being thing. Just hop on to the next thing,
Yeah, well, of course it is. But I mean, again, it's all on AT&T's shoulders now. They're the ones who've got to get out there and say, "Oh no, it was a huge hit for HBO Max," and
that's true.
We're clearly discussing a Snyderverse going forward on HBO Max. Unless they do that, it's dead. And I hate to tell you that, Jay. Look,
man, I can face the hard truth of things, and it's not looking good. We got the movie. Hey, I'm not greedy.
Right. No, and I like that attitude at least, Jay. I mean, that's the right attitude to have at this point. I mean, you guys did a lot. I mean, what we did see though is you guys raised over $100,000 just for, the charity in like a couple days or whatever it was. That shows that there was interest behind it.
And I think $500,000 in all for AFSP.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then you guys did a great job. And then on top of that, I mean, we'll eventually get to hear the outside numbers. I mean, they're not going to be able to hold on to that forever. I mean, I don't know, Script. I mean, do they usually report a lot of like digital download numbers in other countries, I'd imagine.
They usually do for the licensing agreement. And on top of that, I mean, there's going to be an investors call for AT&T and Warner Brothers coming up soon. So I'm pretty sure someone's going to
bring it up,
make an ask, and there'll be some sort of presentation of how HBO Max is doing, how its content is performing, and what that would mean for their future releases that they'll be doing on HBO Max for this year and next.
But you know what's crazy? And Tom, I know you got to get to these super chats, but I just want to say this. Isn't it crazy how we already in that moment to where we're not worried about the movie theaters, is strictly streaming service? That blows my mind.
And I know the studios know that's what's on the horizon, and they're playing their own part in killing the theaters. But we can talk a little bit about that right after the super chat, as you pointed out, Jay. Even though this is the only one we got rating right now, Dash DC comes in again and says, "Darkseid is a strong villain if done right." I agree. Any chance there's going to be more of him, even if the Snyderverse doesn't move forward? Oh, I think Darkseid's way too famous of a bad guy to just ignore.
And think about the new gods that don't have nothing to do with the Snyderverse is supposed to come out too. And Darkseid plays a big role with the new gods.
Well, yeah, it's Apocalypse versus New Genesis.
Yep.
The only sad part about that is I think Ava DuVernay is still attached to it, but yeah. But yeah, so who do we
if
got?
I may,
we got Demogeny coming in here too. Holy cow.
Hey.
Hello there.
What up?
How are you?
How you doing?
I saw him in the chat earlier as well.
Well, it ain't no dark council tonight, so we free agents. You know.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah, no dark council tonight. But just so you know, now that I'm here and I have everybody's attention, Damaj and I's main goal is to make sure I have a OnlyFans soon. I will become the male Belle Delphine. I'm going to do it. This is my goal in life. If she could sell bathwater for $30 a pop, I'm selling it for $40. Damn it, let's do this.
You did say you're going to become the male Belle Delphine. Did I
I'm
hear
not
that
going
right?
to contribute, but I mean, hey, Tom was doing the
Got
Vincent
it.
Price OnlyFans earlier, so why not? You got to be ambitious. You got to be ambitious.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's all I got to say about that.
And
That's all
welcome
I'm
to
saying.
my
I
OnlyFans.
do appreciate the drive and ambition.
Yeah, you got to. I have a question though.
I step
been
away
wondering-
and there's even more people here now. Holy cow! What, Tom? What's going on, man?
Rob,
I
you
sent
been-
the link out. Remember,
Rob, you've
nobody
been
showed
going
up
for like
first.
an hour.
Everybody showed up finally.
Rob, you finally woke up.
Yeah, you know that quicksand porn. You run out eventually after a while.
Did you say quicksand porn?
That's a thing. Yes, we found Damaj and I. We have found the end of the internet. Quicksand porn.
Quicksand.
That's not the
porn.
end.
No.
That's not the end.
Yeah,
Listen,
How did that
listen.
work,
No,
though?
no.
You
All right.
got
So I don't know. If
I don't
y'all
want to
know.
know. No.
I don't
want
know
to go
if
back
y'all
to the
know-
Snyder Cut. I'm a heart. Go ahead.
I don't know if y'all know a YouTuber named Sid Snap. She's pretty dope. She does a lot of manga oriented stuff. She's over in Japan. She finds the most degenerate stuff. And I actually saw one. I was like, let me see what she's talking about, bro. It's a level of depravity that I don't think anybody wants to go to. Some hentai is just not really for consumption. It really isn't. Just-
I'm all for depravity. So.
I wish I had a time machine so I can go back in time to where I didn't know any of this stuff existed. That's what I
Like
want.
some things you can't unsee or hear.
Can't unsee. I won't be able to unremember it. I don't have the Men
Now,
in Black
back to
device
this
to go
quick
through.
side stuff, though. Do you have to hurry up before you die?
Like no, it's all a put on. It's a put on, but it's the
You
idea.
sure?
Yeah, because it's the same girls over and over.
The same girls?
Well, yeah, it's just all it is some scantily clad woman, and she's sinking in quicksand. And
Well,
isn't
gee,
that
I'm gonna have to do some science tonight.
I like science.
we're something? You know, hey, listen. Let me tell you. Sometimes, okay, listen. I tell the story. This is how I found it. Okay, I was on.
You don't have to explain yourself. You're not. You're not on trial.
a
No one
hub.
judging you.
I was on a
Oh.
hub for
You was on the science hub? Were you on the science hub?
Rob said he'd be on the hub heavy.
Were you on the hub just a second ago? Did we almost dark side feel you, man? You was on for a little bit.
anyway.
Oh,
So
no
anyway,
comment. I feel
you type in, you know, the autofill, the suggestions. You type in babes, and it comes up babes in leather, babes, babes in quicksand. You see that, you say to yourself, "Come on, you can't put that
Look
up
at
there
D.
and not have me click on it."
Imagine that looking it up.
And so,
He's Googling right now.
and so,
No, I'm not.
I'm watching it, and I'm like, you know what? That's it. We've reached the end of the internet, right there.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. There's no other place you can go.
I'm not looking it up, I promise.
Isn't that the best kind of woman though? One that disappears. I mean, that's.
No, I want him to sit around.
Everybody's Jay's like, wait a minute. Jay had to put some thought into that.
Oh Lord.
My mom
You
told
want
me-
women to come back.
Can I
That
try
means
to
that you're
bring
doing
the
something
show
right.
back around before Tom gets an angry phone call from Andre or something? No, just kidding.
Oh, Philly Kitten says, do you think they are deliberately trying to screw theaters to hide the fact that they are not producing anything?
And it
of
comes
note
again.
they're
It comes back to porn. They're trying to screw theaters.
Yeah.
And the name is Furry Kitten, so that's not
Oh.
helping with the porn thing.
Oh,
Lord.
Lord.
Hollywood is
Thanks for
totally
catching that one, Jay.
Hollywood is totally in the
Listen,
game.
Jay, we don't
of
all look
screwing
alike.
theaters.
It's a joke.
Yeah,
It's a joke. It's a joke.
they want to destroy theaters right now because they want it to be all about the streaming services. They want 100% control over everything you consume and watch. Yeah. They don't want you to have any control whatsoever.
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
it's a semi-symbiotic relationship, Hollywood to
here's the-
theaters, that Hollywood, I think, would be happy to just ditch. And we're seeing
Yeah,
that
what it-
now with the trending with Warner Brothers is doing with their co-releases on HBO Max and theaters. Disney is now, as you guys discussed earlier in the show, it's like, oh, here comes Black Widow and the Shang-Chi and the 10 who gives a shit, like you said, it really is. It's like
that's something nobody asked for. If they wanted to do something with the 10 rings, they should have put in the actual and Iron Man 3. What was my man name? The Mandarin. They should put the actual Mandarin in if they wanted to do that.
Well,
did he have the 10 rings at one point? Didn't he have the 10 rings?
This is the new woke Disney, though. You can't have diverse people.
You can't. Yeah, you can't have Ben Kingsley, a white British actor, playing what is supposed to be a Chinese character, the Mandarin.
Why he played Gandhi?
But they did that with the ancient
that
one.
was 30 years ago, though. I'm
talking about the ancient one from Doctor Strange. They damn sure spot that.
Yeah, look,
she was a British white woman. Isn't she British?
Celtic. Yeah, Celtic.
Celtic. Everything is based around identity politics now, which is sad. But just real quick on you mentioned a couple of things on the whole Snyder cut. Just before we move on, I do want to say this just to give a little bit different perspective. I was never a huge DC fan. I loved Superman. I loved Batman, but I never got into the depth of the other characters. And I tried to get into the DC verse when Warner Brothers, and I'm talking post Chris Nolan here. Chris Nolan's Batman was fantastic. Some of my favorite films ever of all time. I enjoy the Tim Burton stuff back in the 80s with Michael Keaton. Could not really get into the newer Warner Brothers DC stuff. And I hated Justice League when Whedon put it out. I actually went to the theater to go see it with my kids, and we all just kind of left there like, meh. That was it. It was for the money they spent on it. And I had literally just written it off. And this is as a guy who did not give a flying flip about the DC universe. When the fan movement started to bring the Snyder cut in, and the pressure rose, and then things started changing, and I saw it come about, and that it was actually to be released, I actually got excited for it. And I finished watching it this morning. And I'm going to tell you what, it's 4 hours long. Yes, there were still some issues. I agree with Tom. There was just an excessive amount of slow-mo. I did not.
That slow-mo was annoying. By the way, Fatal J, I did finally see it since the last time I saw you. I did see it.
Yeah, I saw your video, man.
I'm still banging my head against a wall with the 4:3 aspect ratio. And
that was terrible too.
This is like
IMAX,
deep.
though.
This is deep off. No, that's not 4:3 like that is not quite IMAX. That's not the same aspect ratio.
No, I brought that up before
what
too.
The man said, though.
No, I know, but like the
man was talking out of his butt.
Yeah, the aspect for IMAX is closer to like 1.66.
This is a wild thought that I had, and I would love to hear your opinion. So, AT&T got involved in this, and that's another thing I'll briefly touch on when I'm finished with this statement because I think it's important. But AT&T got involved with this. They passed out, $70-80 million for this movie to be recut, re-released. Zack Snyder said he wanted to basically put as much money into the ground as possible, so he did not take a paycheck to reimagine, to recreate what he envisioned originally. Part of me has to imagine, as a guy who does video work and does a lot of photography work on the side, I started looking at it and I think this is some deep stuff. But if you cut a movie down to 4:3 and you basically eliminate 40% of the screen, you can say I did it for artistic reasons. But it also cuts out 40% of all VFX CGI post-production potential. So if you really wanted to cram, if they had to remake Steppenwolf, they had to create Darkseid from scratch. They had to do all kind of new CGI shit. You really want to smash your budget into as much potential as possible, cut out 40% of your screen area.
That is a good point.
That's probably
just
the
a
most
thought.
logical reason.
But I do know one thing though. I somebody from Weta had come out and said they were happy they finally got to go back to their original effects. Mm-hmm. So I know some of the stuff did exist already. Like they had already started working on it, and then they changed direction. But yeah, it kind of shows in the movie though too, because there's some effects like Steppenwolf that are amazing. Yep. And then there's other bits that are just really bad, like so bad my kid on his home computer could do a better job bad.
The Steppenwolf thing in the first version, the Whedon version, that was one of the things that just immediately sucked me out of that movie.
Well, yeah,
I'm watching a 2010 video game PlayStation 2 animatic, or it's just it really, especially in the same years where we're getting shit from Marvel and ILM that looks like gold, and then you get this shit from Warner Brothers. So, and just real quick on the whole Warner Brothers AT&T thing, I'm going to make this as brief as possible. Just this is my financial planner hat going on right now in the business world. You say Jason Kilar is kind of like the Bob Iger to an extent. He's over Warner Media, but there's still a guy above him. That's John Stankey. That's the guy who runs AT&T. So, it's going to come to a point where AT&T, who, look, is in heavy debt, but they have a lot of service revenue that they can service that debt very comfortably. They have yet to cut their dividend. They're still going strong on that. But there's going to come to a point where, yes, to what Fatal J and you guys were talking about earlier, where it's like, look, you guys at Warner, you can go off and fart out whatever you want for the Warner universe, for the DCEU. But you know what? Over here on HBO Max, John Stankey wants to stick in his finger and go, you know what? We're going to give Zach $200 million because we want him to build out that, and we're going to do it on HBO Max if you guys are going to fuck around with it, pardon my French, and we'll just do it over here. They have the power to do that. Same as Bob Chapek right now has the same ability to put his finger down on Kathleen Kennedy and say, somebody muzzle this bitch. They all have the same power. It's just a matter of actually getting out there and having the balls to do it.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
To me, Ann Sarnoff might as well have just said, everybody form a protective circle around J.J. Abrams. To me, that's really what it comes down to.
JJ isn't going to be doing as much as y'all think, though. He's
going to hand it off. He's collected his check for $500 million. He's going to hand it off to lackeys. He's going to show up to do production shit, and that's going to be about it.
His lackeys suck too, though. Like he's
good at handing out I'm not saying lackeys. They don't.
But I've had a question, and I've been wondering, and what is the Snyderverse? And what I mean is, they already are still going to do a Wonder Woman, correct, and a Shazam and an Aquaman, and all of these are the the Snyderverse or the DCEU versions, but they're still supposed to proceed with them. So my question is really, is it any chance of Snyder Snyder-based characters still having a future, even if Snyder doesn't? Could we get the Ben Affleck Batman with him directing, which is actually the only thing I really want out of the whole Snyderverse, is the Ben Affleck Batman, either series or movie with Deathstroke. But is there any potential for that? And then, answer the question exactly, like, what is the Snyderverse in a very specific way?
Hey, heck yeah.
There's always potential. There's always potential. It's just a matter of, do they want to make the business decision to where it's like, hey, the dollars are out there. The money is out there. Just like with, the transition with Lucasfilm Star Wars, when the sequel trilogy merchandising wasn't selling at all, and you'd walk into a Target or to a Walmart or to whatever toy store or whatever toy seller, and it wasn't Star Wars anymore. It was the Mandalorian Star Wars. They totally transitioned the merchandising because there was fan demand for it.
And see Disney the same thing going on with Warner right now. You could
exactly. You could have the same thing with Warner if the fans keep out there, and frankly, they ignore all of the bullshit pushback they're getting from these cuckoos on Twitter, which I have officially coined as twatsies. If you ignore all of these people, these nutballs out there that frankly are not the paying fans. I mean, these people that are complaining on Twitter and Facebook about toxic this and toxic that and anti this and istophobe and blah, 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 blah. They don't pay Disney's bills. They don't pay Warner Brothers bills. You want proof? Go look at Star Wars: The High Republic. Go look at all the SJW cuckoo stuff they put out there that does not sell. It does not make money. Okay. And I think over time, hopefully over the next year or two, especially as theaters are shut down and they don't get these big revenues in, I think from a financial perspective, if these people start waking up and realizing that, oh shit, hashtags on Twitter don't pay the bills. Oh my God. And they don't.
Yeah, it's funny it's taking them that long to figure that out, because
I'm not going to go woo-woo why that is.
Well, it's hard to agree with that when you have hashtag release the Snyder Cut, created the Snyder Cut, and probably has brought in revenue too.
Well, that is like there's that, but that's one thing. Almost everything else has just been, let's just hashtag something. And not really do anything other than try to get people fired. That's all. I
just want to answer my friend question real quick, and y'all can continue talking. He asked what the Snyderverse was. The Snyderverse is this: it's Man of Steel. Zack Snyder had a 5-movie arc plan in his head, and it was Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, what we just saw on March 18th, and it will be complete when he do Justice League 2 and Justice League 3. That's what people are talking about when they say the Snyderverse.
So it would be those 5 movies, those 5 can't. Okay.
So he
the Justice League we saw was part 1 and 2 of the 3. Yeah,
not necessarily.
Wonder Woman's supposed to be considered in that part of that too, but yeah.
But well, look at Wonder Woman 84. It didn't have
and
nothing
Suicide
to do with
Squad.
Zack. Look at Aquaman, the solo movie. It had nothing to do with Zack. You know.
Yeah.
But people talking about that 5-movie art. They want to see that Justice League 2 and that Justice League 3, and then everybody can walk into the sunset. You know.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I thought it included any character. I'm like, would Shazam be part of the Snyderverse? And
no,
so I didn't know that.
Well, okay. I did say this though. If Zack's movie was to go forward, they're definitely going to need more than the few heroes they have if Darkseid is coming to Earth, because the way it left off is Darkseid's coming to Earth. So you're going to need way more than just them to fight Darkseid and basically his entire armada.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna need a couple of lanterns. I'm just saying, you're gonna need a couple of lanterns there.
Well, they showed some lanterns in the beginning of the new Snyder cut of Justice League that I don't remember from the first one, but maybe they were in there.
I remember in the Joss version they did show a lantern real quick.
It was a whole.
It wasn't anybody. What was that?
Mm-hmm.
It was a few more than we only saw one in this one, but in the Justice League version, it was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
yeah. And just real quick, Script. Look, I agree with you. You know, you bring up an excellent point, and I think there's a distinction there that needs to be made regarding the hashtags. Well, it got the Zack Snyder cut back yet? Well, yes, it did, but this is the difference: is that when you're just like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, the dichotomy of articles from different sections of the media, where we get fan hit pieces from things like made up things like rewriting Ripley, or you get hit pieces from places like Variety or Deadline versus
or the
Wrap versus contrarian pieces saying like, hey, maybe firing Gina Carano was a bad idea from Forbes. And this is my point, is that when you're talking about Lucasfilm diving into the whole Hollywood media thing, and then somebody like Forbes is speaking to the investors of Disney. Same thing over at AT&T, is that when you start getting pieces in the media from places like Forbes or Kiplinger's or some of these other financial magazines, some of these places where the guys that run the mutual fund companies like Vanguard and BlackRock and American Funds and so on and so forth, that own controlling stakes in companies like Disney and AT&T, when they start putting out pieces about, maybe some of your subsidiaries should kind of rethink things, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, but from the business
you're really off topic right now. I don't know what you're talking about. You're kind of rambling, and I don't mean to be rude or insulting, but we're talking about hashtags and how a hashtag worked on a fan movement, and it's also worked to detriments of some fans as well. Could we stay a little focused on that, please? Because I don't know what you're saying at this point.
Well, no, what I meant was, Script, and I'm sorry, is that all of the hashtag stuff, when people get in there, the hashtags still have power, but those hashtags, when you're talking about the broader scope of media, when you're talking about media that's focused on Hollywood kind of stuff versus the business angles, okay, like we saw with Forbes magazine talking about Gina Carano getting fired, and that was kind of a wake-up call, supposedly, to Disney. I think you start seeing the same kind of things come down the pike to AT&T and Warner Media from the business side versus the entertainment side. I'm sorry if I didn't make that. Does that make more sense?
Not exactly, because we're talking about people on the internet, which would be the customers, which are the ones that also contribute to the hashtag. There's also then the people in corporate that create the hashtag to try and get those customers to pass it along. So you're seeing that's a relationship here. When you're talking about the business side of things, it's really about the optics of marketing. And hashtags are a part of that. So that's the focus of what you have. When you have a journalist that makes one hit piece against, and then another journalist that says, hey, maybe you shouldn't have fired someone, that's just part of the trades doing their thing to try and stir up conversation and also a little bit of controversy. But the thing is, there's no like they're trying to figure out this new model of the internet, which is, again, the internet's been around as a public service that a lot of people can pay for and get easily for about 20 years. So trying to figure out how to navigate that as it changes every 3 or 4 years with the new inventions of new websites, new technology, new means of communications through Twitter, Facebook, social media, all that stuff, they're always going to be behind. So it doesn't even matter what their business model is for now. In 5 years, they know that's going to change. So they just ride with the tides.
All right, I have a question.
Understand.
Do you think that they authentically listen to hashtags? I don't. I think they only call the hashtags. What I mean is, do you think that fan interest actually influences what they do? I mean, obviously to some extent it does, but my perspective has been they only listen to the hashtags they want to listen to, and they ignore the ones they don't.
I think when it came to
listen to what they want to listen to.
So I mean, if that's the case, that makes them sort of pointless. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter what it is.
When you talk about like the Snyder Cut fans, they were putting money down. So it wasn't even like they were doing billboards and shit like that. So, you know, that was like putting your money where your tweets are. You understand? So I think that's what really, where AT&T was like, wait a minute, these fools is buying billboards. This ain't just somebody typing on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Get that billboard money. That's what they're actually saying.
Your mic is muted, Fatal.
Oh, I was just saying they rented out an airplane too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. Release that. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'm just saying. So when you see something like the Snyder Cut movement, that's people putting money where the tweets are. It's not like, oh, fire Gina Carano. So that fire Gina Carano.
The only two times where let me put it this way: the only two times I've ever seen a hashtag work in this arena is the Snyder Cut and the Expanse. That's it. That's the only two times that I can think of offhand. I'm sure there's a couple of them. But when it comes to entertainment, it's really fickle.
As far as like bringing something back out,
the new letter-ready campaigns. That's the other part too. That a lot of studios look at it. It's a letter-ready campaign, which has occurred in some cases. It worked for Community. It's worked for Star Trek. It's worked for a number of other.
It worked for Chuck too. You remember Chuck got that too? They was going to cancel
Chuck got that as well. Good. Yeah, that's right, Dimaj and I.
Yeah, Chuck got saved too.
It's about listening to what fandoms want with regards to, hey, this show shouldn't have been canceled. We want it back. Hey, technically that's kind of what happened with Zack Snyder's Justice League. The movie was canceled and given to someone else to close it out. People wouldn't like it, and they wanted it back, and they did something that a fan movement hasn't really done on this mass level before, which is they put their money where their mouth is. They proved to the studios that, hey, we are willing to spend money on this cut by spending money of how much we want this cut. And when AT&T, a service provider, saw that and the opportunity of basically the unfortunate pandemic where there is a gap now in film production, they figured we can kill two birds with one stone here. They finally have a reason to justify spending the money needed to actually do it. Beforehand, they didn't really have that reason. Theaters were open, other movies were being made, big box office takes were being done. There's no reason for them to invest another 70 to 80 million on an old movie. But when the pandemic hits, things get shut down. Well, we got this sitting on the shelf. We know there's fans out there that want this. They've spent money on it. We might as well, pay that forward and see if that ends up working for HBO Max. It was basically whether if they released it, it would still be a win-win. Because one, they get it out of the way. They get their money and they get their content on their platform. It's hard to lose in that sense, given this current climate. If they tried to do this without a pandemic, it probably would have crushed them financially to a degree that it would take them a few months to get out of.
Yeah, and like I said before, this whole thing only happens because you had so much of a movie there to work with, and the fan movement pushed it, and it was like AT&T looked at it. Look, we already bought this company, so it's like buying something at a yard sale and then selling it for an astronomical amount.
That's true, though.
Antique shop.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, because they're in a no lose scenario with it. And so this could be very well why they just backed off of the whole DC thing in the end too. That could be why they may just stay silent. But people keep asking what I got on screen here. What I got on screen here is some of the stuff
on the screen.
Difference.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fatal. I know you don't like this, Fatal. But what this shows to me, or at least this tells me, is this movie was shot in 35 millimeter.
Oh, absolutely. Ari Alexas shoot 35 millimeter sensors. They're not 4x3.
I'm not going to front, guys. I'm right there with you. I want the screen to fill up the whole thing. I don't want to see black bars.
And so he's doing it just to do it. And with this scene here, and along with a couple other ones that Mahler pulled out, where what I was trying to say is, yes, it is a different film, but there's a lot of scenes where all Zack Snyder does is make something that Joss cut down to like 15, 20 seconds last over a minute or more. Okay, it's the same exact thing almost, and almost the same shots and everything. And here's one.
But this is what I was thinking though, Tom. Before you go into it, I thought the scenes that we saw in the Justice League was actually Zack's work.
It is. That's my point.
Okay.
And that's where I was getting at before, was when people said, well, he directed it, but it was like right there. It literally took 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what they did. So he actually expound upon what actually happened.
I mean, and actually Joss added this shot here, or Zach, this is all added stuff here. I get that. Like, he did add stuff back in, don't get me wrong. But what is this really adding to the scene that we got out of it anymore? That we got out of Joss's scene? Yeah. We know there's a Parademon, whatever they're called, the
Parademon.
The Parademon there and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing, only this time we actually get to see the whole Parademon and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, again, it does add to it, but he's also doing it to show that Zach is also cropping off the 4x3 there. Yeah. So for those who are wondering a 35 millimeter film is shot, and what they'll do is they'll crop off a little bit at the top, and they got a lot to work with on the sides. So you kind of got like a little bit to leeway on both ends. So you can crop it off in a 4x3 and gain a little bit at the top and the bottom, but you'll lose a bunch at the sides. And that's kind of how movies used to be put on video when they would shoot them in 35 millimeter open matte.
I will say this though,
it's a little bit different than pan and scan.
Saying a little earlier that if they do go ahead and say, y'all do what y'all want, and then we're going to put like the Snyderverse in HBO, I think that'd be cool. Because I actually I'm not a big Snyder guy. DC's my second. I'm always a Marvel guy first. So I always say that, just might give my caveat. But I don't hate DC. I like DC too. But if they continue with this story, because I want to see what happens when Darkseid comes there. That would be cool. Because by the way, like I always say, their animated series, the Warner Brothers animated series, are banging. Those things are dope. Like I like their animated series. So if they could translate something like that, like if Zach could give us something like that, but in with live action, I think that'll kill it. That'll kill it.
Well, if I can make Jay feel better for just a moment, I will say this. I did enjoy this movie better than the other version. It is the best Zack Snyder film in the DCEU so far. And I guarantee you, if they would have released like a 3-hour version of this in theaters, I would have been like, this movie's pretty good. Probably. It probably would have got a better rating than I give it. The rating it gets now. Yeah, go ahead.
No, real quick, because I know you're still talking, but I just feel like the extra length, the 4 hours, was just straight fan service.
Oh, absolutely. Like I understand that. Like I take that into consideration, that we're getting a movie that's probably an hour and a half longer than it probably would have been if it was theaters. And I take that into consideration. But I do also, until I see that version, or if I would have saw that version first, it may have made all the difference in the world, is what I was saying. Yeah. But in the end, I do marginally recommend it. Getting through that first hour is a chore, but after that, the movie stops. And that's the common thing I hear from everybody, is they get through that first hour and a half, and they quit. And then they got to come back to it.
But Tom, I'm not one of the people say, "Oh, you didn't like it." I understand.
No, I know, Jay. You've been one of the most fair members of this movement. You've always heard people out. You've never had a problem with anybody having any kind of criticisms of the films. And I mean, yeah, you've come in when you don't agree, and you've that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but. You've been.
If everybody agreed on everything, it wouldn't be fun. Life wouldn't be fun if everybody agreed on everything.
We would be zombies.
We would be zombies. But that's what Twitter wants, though. Twitter wants stuff like that. They want everybody to agree with them. So
But Jay does deserve that, because he has heard everybody out on this thing. So he's always.
Now, Tom, what you rating? Because you about to give me your rating. What's your rating?
I don't like giving a rating. If I had to give it on a rating of a scale of 1 to 10, and here's what you got to understand about me. There's very few films that get a 10 out of 10, right? Gotcha. Like when I say 10 out of 10, we're talking Godfather, Jaws, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Goodfellas. So like, like the only superhero movie that I can think of, there's only like 2, I think, that I've ever gotten a 10 out of 10 out of me. And that have been
Superman.
Okay, 3. Richard Donner's Superman.
I knew I got one of them.
TMNT 1990.
Which one? What was that second one?
TMNT 1990. And,
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's a
10
tough.
out of 10 all day. You made me want to watch that tonight.
See, I love Dark Knight, but Infinity War almost beat that. So it's like kind of a. I mean, so but between those 4 movies are the only movies that I could say would be like a 10 out of 10.
Gotcha.
The original Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man 2 are way up there. Like those are like 9 out of 9s kind of thing. So just kind of, you know.
Tom, is the Snyder Cut better than Endgame? Because I've been hearing a lot of people say that.
I don't think so, but I can understand why certain people would think. I'd put Endgame at probably like a 7. I put Endgame at like a 7.
So low.
What was that?
I didn't see this. I haven't seen the Snyder Cut yet, and I haven't made time. But I don't think Endgame is a good movie. I don't know if that's a hot take or a cold take, but I don't. Like
Endgame didn't come close.
Endgame was a little lackluster. It was missing something, but I will say my favorite Marvel MCU movie is still Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is almost a 10 out of 10. It's like
Winter Soldier, Civil War too. I thought was great. And I think, look, here's the thing with Endgame versus something like the Justice League, just because of how long it took to get there. It took 12 years and 21 movies or whatever it was. And Endgame, for whatever flaws that it may have had, the beauty of Endgame was they spent so much time building up the characters. And and call me stupid, but I think for 12 years for a guy like Robert Downey Jr. to carry that character, I think he should have at least been nominated for Best Actor in that film. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I agree
I think he did an absolutely phenomenal job. He carried that franchise. What other actor in the history of Hollywood has driven a franchise to $20 billion effing dollars in revenues?
And before him, no one gave a freak about Iron Man.
And let me tell you what, when Iron Man, exactly, like in the comics,
Tony
Iron
Stark
Man
on Wu-Tang, though. I knew about him, though.
Yeah, but Ghostface was only by
the time, by the time we got to Endgame, we all kind of knew going into that movie, well, Tony has to die. This is what's coming. And we all kind of knew it. And even still when it happened, we were all sitting there in the theater like, holy shit. And it was even so much, if you remember the story, that Kevin Feige had to bring Robert Downey Jr. back to reshoot that last line. And Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to do it because he's like, I don't want to go back to that place again. Because after they finished cutting the movie, they were like, oh my God, his last line needs to be, and I am Iron Man. They didn't shoot that at first. They had to bring Robert Downey Jr. back for reshoots to do that.
Wow.
I got something to bring to y'all real quick. Now, Fader, you already heard this, but I'm gonna bring it to y'all. So listen, one of the problems we have, to me at least, when it comes to comic book adaptations, right? Because you can have something like Batman that's been around since like the 30s, I believe, right? And Bruce Wayne is still 30 years old right now in the comics, right? So you can't do that in the real world, obviously, because actors age, right? So you can't do that. So my thing is, I know, like what you was just saying now, which made me think about it. You say, oh, going into Endgame, like you knew Tony Stark had to die, right? Here's what I say, right? Did he really? Now, you could have said Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to continue because he's obviously getting too army. Hugh Jackman played Wolverine for 17 years. That's like unheard of, right? So, my thing is, they need to use, to me, is if you're going to be doing this comic book thing, make the character stay the same character, just change out actors. Do the James Bond formula, where it's still the same James Bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, the James Bond from the 30s is still the James Bond now. But just this way, you don't have to, because guess what's going to end up happening? If we keep going the way we're going, every 10 years or so, we're going to get origin story, because you know Hollywood's going to be dumb enough to keep doing that. Just like with Spider-Man,
like we can make money on it. Yeah,
we keep getting the origin story of Batman. We keep getting the origin story of Peter Parker. You know, we already know this. We know the origin story of that. What's that?
How many times do Uncle Ben and those parents got to get shot?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Those pearls, those goddamn pearls.
Exactly.
So my point
being is, my question to y'all is, do you think it would make sense to do the James Bond formula and just keep the same? It's just, have the story keep going.
No,
but it's still the same character.
James Bond in the 90s.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Script. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Yeah, they tried it in the 90s with Batman.
Yeah, they tried it.
Michael Keaton twice. Him and Val Kilmer. They tried it. They want to do that. It's a difficult goal because, again, people get really attached to the actors that play those roles in the most iconic way. And then the other part, too, is there's that fear from other actors coming in that they're just going to do an impersonation of the one previously that a lot of actors have to reconcile.
So
Yeah,
this is what I would say
there's two-
to fix that is that if you're going to do that, you just got to get newer actors.
But the actors are
somebody
going to
fresh.
No, the actors are going to have that reservation of, oh, I'm just going to have to impersonate, Robert Downey Jr. How do I follow Robert Downey Jr.? Just like some people said,
I know there's a
follow
flaw
John
to it.
Bond?
I know it's a flaw, but my only concern is that eventually we are going to constantly keep getting this remake of the origin story. What I'm saying, we're going to
There's
get an
only
origin
so
story.
far you
Origin
can
story.
go with that, though, because here's the problem. The MCU, unlike James Bond, is enormous. James Bond was focused around James Bond. Right. And every movie was basically a separate, disconnected story. There was very little transition from one movie to the next, even through all the different
allows more
recasting of
room.
characters.
Because that's the problem you have with that.
I get you, but I figured I'd throw that out there because that's just something I was thinking about.
Well, let me throw this out there too, though. Not just actors, though. You also get people behind the scenes. To where Bond, it's lucky is to where you can keep reinventing the idea, and you can bring new people to the table behind the scenes, not just in front of the camera. And that's where you can kind of reinvigorate things. And the unfortunate thing with superhero films is, if you stay in one era too long, it starts to get stale. And then you have the other problem is it starts to confuse the audience, because I know that's one reason why Batman Begins didn't do as well as it should have, is because people thought that was still connected to the other Batman. They're like, oh, they got another actor playing. I don't care.
They thought it was a prequel to Keaton's Batman.
Yeah, they thought it was either Batman 5 or a prequel of some kind.
And that's the best one to me. Batman.
Well, that's the thing is there was a lot of people who did not know that at the time. And we forget that there is a general audience out there, like I said in the beginning of this, that just they do not care. They just want to sit down 2 hours, be entertained, see some explosions, maybe some TNA,
Definitely TNA.
The TNA,
Definitely
damn it. All
TNA.
TNA.
TNA is problematic.
That's really what a lot of the audience wants. They don't want to be preached to. They don't want to have to think too hard. They don't want to watch something depressing generally. It's just, that's another reason why the Snyderverse didn't really catch on with the main audience. It's okay to have a depressing Batman, but you can't have a depressing Superman and Wonder Woman too. That's
no.
You can't keep.
It can't all be dark.
Yes,
not all of it. Yeah, you've got to have some balance in there.
And as cool as I like the edgier kind of thing sometimes, which I'm fine with, I have no problem with that. Especially when it comes to like my Ninja Turtles. I've been beating that drum for years. You want to give Zach something to do? Give him the first 5 issues of Ninja Turtles and say, "Here, make this."
Oh,
right, Jay?
Wow, I'd be down for that.
Oh, you mean like
down
for that? 5 issues I've got in my collection, Tom?
Exactly. And you know what I'm talking about. As long as you say don't deviate from this,
Tom, he would kill it. He would kill
exactly.
That's what he's best at, is adaptation. And if you give him a page for page thing, that's probably the project he should
kill
work
it.
on.
He would kill that. I mean, even you know what's even better is tell him you can make it black and white, Zach.
Make it black and white. Maybe do Sin City and have the bandanas red.
You can make it black and white, but for God's sake, it's got to be in 2-3-5 to 1 because this 4x3 shit ain't rolling.
At least 185. At least 185. Come on,
185. I can live with 185. 185 is fine.
Yeah, I don't
But
mind.
no 1-3-3 to 1.
Yeah, this 4x3 shit's got to go. Furry Kitten's been sitting on this so long. Sorry about that. In the 80s, we used to have straight-to-video releases with major studios to be happy with the equivalent of straight-to-streaming movies. They already do. That's already part of the model, and that's kind of what built that model in a lot of ways. I know Script can probably agree with that. That's kind of where a lot of that
You mean like all American Pies that came out?
Yeah, exactly. All these lower-level movies that used to go straight to cable or straight to video are now basically going straight to streaming.
I will say this though, out of all those American Pies, I don't know why I thought about that. About all those American Pies, the last one they did when they did the reunion, when they had actually everybody came back, I was actually pretty good. I chuckled.
That wasn't bad. They did a girls rules one recently, and it's the first American Pie that has no nudity.
Yeah, not only that.
Yeah, that's not good.
It looked like a remake of the original. I didn't watch it. Did
Listen, one of my favorite scenes in that anniversary ones when the girl's in the car and she turns around. You know what part I'm talking about?
You mean American Reunion?
Yeah.
See,
when he's driving the girl home and she turns around and
are so much better than they have the fucking right to be. I don't understand. Because I was expecting them to get worse and worse with each one, and they didn't. Of course, they do kind of, but I mean, they're still at that level
a little bit.
Yeah.
Where like the second one especially was like, no, this movie has no right to be this goddamn good. And then the third one's funny as shit. It's not as good of a story, but it's got some of the more funnier moments. And then you get to the fourth film. Huh?
The wedding one?
Yeah, the wedding one. Because I was not expecting that one to be good. And by the end of that movie, I'm like, God damn it, they did it to me.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good too.
The fucking cubes on the cake.
And then fucking the fourth movie, you're like, okay, this one's the one they're gonna end up nerfing it. They've got to. And you get to the end of it, you're like, God damn it, they did it to me.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. I still say the very first time I remember seeing American Pie, the first one in the theater, and it wasn't. Because remember they had a different version when he actually used the pie. The theatrical version, he was standing up using the pie, and I was in the theater crying. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, who does that? And then the part when he was in the when they gave him the X-Lax, I was finished. I was like, I know these people like, this dude is out of his mind. I was literally on the floor cracking up in the freaking theater. That's how funny it was to me, the first American Pie.
You know, somebody was asking the other day what the last real good comedy was. American Reunion might have been one of the last ones that got away with a lot of that kind of crap.
Yeah, that is true. Because like I said, that part when she was in the car and she turned around and had full camel toe, you wouldn't do
there's a
you
lot
wouldn't
of
doing
stuff
that now.
They got away with.
You wouldn't doing that now.
I cannot tell you guys how many times my wife and I are sitting around watching movies and I look over at her and I say, holy shit, you couldn't make this movie today.
Oh, God. Almost every movie I watch anymore.
I can't. The library that I have, I've got hundreds, maybe 1,000 plus titles between DVDs, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, even still. I mean, I'm like, and I can't. I'm like, I look at half these things and I go, God, you couldn't make this anymore.
Watch this, Tom.
This is how
Me and Tom love the 1990s Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I adore that movie.
You couldn't make that movie today. Tom, you remember when they killed Shredder at the end? What happened? Yeah. He fell in the dumpster. In the dump truck.
Right.
Casey Jones said, oops, hit the lever and crushed him on a children's movie.
You know what they should have had, though, to make that even better? Would have been like, they should never had anything to kind of give you anything on Casey. And that's maybe one of the only things I wish there's like a bunch of deleted scenes somewhere that gives Casey some kind of motivation. Because there is a little bit in the novels, but it's like him in an argument with his dad or some shit, and that's why he's out on the roof. And then there's some other scene that's in the.
But that movie was so good, Tom. You never did question his.
No, of course not. But that's to me like the only thing that's missing from that movie is like if they had like Casey had like a brother who got wrapped up in the foot or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good
tie. The kid that Tatsu killed, because even though in the movie he doesn't die, that kid dies in the books.
Yeah,
in the original script. In the original,
when he beat him up,
script's right. They ADR the line where he'll be okay, and it's
like, no,
he fucking dies.
And one of the reasons that movie is still so good, it was all practical effects.
Yeah, it was.
It was all real costumes. It was real stuff. I mean, it was before the age of heavy CGI and VFX and post production. You know, shooting stuff like nowadays. You know, we'll take an RELX, shoot something in 6K. Down converted to 2K DCI to do post production work in it and stick all this stuff in. Boy, I missed back in the days when everything.
That's what I was going to say. Is it me? Is all of the CGI getting a little tired?
It is.
Oh, very.
It's getting a little tired.
Overused.
Let me tell you what. That's one of the reasons why I think personally things like The Mandalorian are so good, because they're really trying to do everything back like the old days in camera.
Perfect example in the Zack Snyder film. They did not need to CGI Martian Manhunter. He could have been completely makeup.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that, because
it's 4 hours of an actor's life that they won't get back, and they can do it digitally.
He was only in it twice. They could have shot it all in one day.
Yeah, that is true.
It's more than I'll get back from the movie script.
Yep.
But now, to me, why they do things like that from a business perspective, but from a fan perspective, from an audience perspective, I agree. I think the overusage of VFX CGI post-production is just tired.
Did y'all like Steppenwolf?
See practical effects.
It doesn't fool the people as much as practical. Practical really fools an audience. CGI doesn't, because there's something of life that a computer program cannot currently replicate. Like ideally, the only time you want CGI is like for a laser blast because you don't really want to do that practically.
Right. Yeah, you can't really. Technically, you can't do that.
I never did answer.
Or a
No, there's some
lightsaber.
cool lighting techniques you can do, but they're very.
You got people making lightsabers on YouTube.
They can
don't
blow
No,
say
I
that.
see. Oh, I seen that. I seen the proto
I saw
saber.
that too.
That proto saber was gangster, but you need a. It's literally like the proto saber from like the old Star Wars. You gotta have a battery pack.
But this the only thing with the lightsaber. You can't push the button and they go back in.
No, it can't. No, they gotta heat up.
I'm
I
teasing.
never did answer Jay's question as far as what my rating on the Snyder Cut.
Yes,
What
I
was
was
it?
thinking about
I
that.
gave the Joss Whedon cut a 4 out of 10. And I gave this version, now mind it, just this version, a 5 out of 10, which is
I respect that, Tom,
is
because I
dead
knew
in the
you were
middle
gonna
of
be
the
hard
road.
on it.
yeah. I
I gave it a 7.5. So
I would have loved to have given it a 6. Hey, that's a fair to me. That would I could see somebody giving it.
Fatal J give it a high 8. I give it a high 8.
That last portion, that fight scene is much better in this version.
Oh,
but it
yes.
goes on for
Yes.
way too long. To me, the highlight was the better version of them breaking into the Bruce the not Bruce the LexCorp thing or whatever, where when they got in there to bring Superman back. That bit was a bit better in this version.
So I'm going to say this, y'all. So this, I mentioned this in my take of this. Me personally, like I said, I'm not the biggest DC guy, but I do know some of my comics, and I know in the comic when Superman, the death of Superman, he was technically in a coma, right? I did not, even in both versions. That's the one thing I didn't like. I didn't like the mother box bringing him back. They should have just said we thought he was dead. We didn't know. Kryptonian physiology.
I don't mind that. My only issue with the mother box is they say that the mother box had been quiet all this time because there was a Kryptonian on Earth. But what about the years prior when there wasn't?
Yeah, the thousands of years prior.
Exactly.
Or the fact that they forgot the planet Earth has 3 mother boxes. So do they not make more mother boxes to take over other worlds? Why they have to reunite these ones? Can they just come with another set?
Yeah, that was no movie doesn't have scenes like I was telling DeMond.
Oh no!
Oh yeah,
I was wondering.
Cinema sins, baby.
I was wondering what happened to the old gods. Now everybody was telling me the old gods, that story happened in Wonder Woman. No, I want to know what happened to the old gods in the Snyder Cut. Because where was they the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where was they when all this started happening again with Steppenwolf? Where was the old
Zeus?
gods? Yeah, where was Zeus? Where were Ares? Where was all those joints? Because I wanted to see more of those characters too.
Well, Ares got his ass whipped in Wonder Woman 1, right?
So, that's the other thing too.
We can at least put
where's
that
the
one out there.
timeline supposed to be at with this movie? That's confused me a little bit too. Where's the
because look at
timeline?
Joker. Joker has no tattoos in this one.
Exactly.
The Suicide Squad happened before Snyder Cut. Because remember, at the end of Suicide Squad, Ben Affleck was trying to get everybody together. Remember at the end of
two
that
things about the Joker. 1, it's a dream. 2, he could cover it with makeup.
That's true.
Or the
I
robot
forgot that
tattoos.
fast. It was a dream. It was a dream. You're right.
Or 3, like Script said, they're just fake tattoos to begin with.
But who's going to give you a reach around?
Oh God! Such
You know what?
I thought about that. I was like, pause.
I'm sorry. I'm not done
That
watching
movie
that scene.
was so much better right up until that point,
Actually,
and he
wasn't
delivers
that
that
line
line, and I'm like,
I'm not
Wasn't
gonna
that
lie.
the
When he
ad lib
said-
line?
when he said
yeah,
reach
but they
around,
left it in there, Tom.
Yeah,
they
Zach
left it
said
in.
he ad libbed it and he left it in. No, you know what's weird about that is he's not even playing the Joker from before. He's playing Jim Carrey as the Joker.
Hey,
If
y'all
you listen
ever thought
to
that,
it.
though? But Tom, hey,
Wait, you
ever
mean
thought
Jim
that-
Carrey is the Riddler, or
Do you
Jim
guys
Carrey?
No,
think
Jim
Jim
Carrey if
Carrey-
he did the Joker.
Oh,
do
if he did the Joker.
Do
okay,
you
'cause he
guys
was the
think
Riddler.
Jim Carrey would have been a great Joker
Yes.
instead of Riddler? I always thought Jim Carrey
Yeah,
was
actually, yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised they didn't go to Jim Carrey to be the Joker in this universe.
that would be
Me too.
insane. Because
Isn't he
like,
kind
was
of on
called
the
man
outs?
with the rubber face for like 20 years? Like that's perfect for a Jim
Well, he was
Joker.
Robotnik in Sonic, and
That's
that
what I'm
was
saying.
and that
He
was
would've-
another movie that was mentioned. As
And
far
he's
as a
gone
fan
to
movie.
dark places before.
Yes,
I mean,
he has.
think about it.
Yes,
Eternal
he has.
Sunshine, the Spotless Mind. I think
He would
as
have
far as
relished
acting
that,
capability.
especially if you give him somebody like Zach who would have been like, just go with it, go crazy, go nuts. I mean,
He would have been better than Leto.
yeah.
It's interesting. I did not like Jared Leto at all as Joker. I'm sorry. I just
I'm
don't.
singing that 30-second.
Leto is the only actor so far I have not liked as the Joker.
I
Love
would agree.
Romero, love Nicholson, love.
But y'all respect
Ledger,
Leto as an actor, though, right?
Joaquin won me over. Jared Leto is a
Joaquin didn't
weird
play the Joker,
motherfucker. That's all
I
I'm gonna
think
say.
Leto can pull it off if he had his own Joker movie, though.
I don't know. He's too
Hey, y'all
much.
seen
He's
Dallas
had
Buyers
so
Club?
many opportunities, though, and I mean, he's kind of at the mercy of the script and the direction. I get that, and I respect the guy as an actor, but I mean,
Have y'all seen Dallas Buyers Club? That's all I'm asking.
No, I
Being a
haven't,
good
but I know
actor
what you're
doesn't mean
talking
you can
about.
play any
The
role,
man,
though.
That's
the
just
man
it,
can
yeah.
act his tail off.
Yeah, he
act.
can. But here's the problem: you have somebody coming in between two of the greatest, two Oscar-winning performances of the Joker, and he totally fucked it up.
Bingo.
I still think Leto is a victim of not seeing enough Joker on camera. Because you got to remember, that's only 10 minutes we saw him. And then think about Suicide Squad. We didn't see that much of him on that either.
He tried.
Yeah, but the great actors can sit there and take those 10 minutes and make everything out of them.
He was trying to mix.
got that.
He's already trying to mix one villain with another. You have the gangster mixing it with Joker, which just doesn't work. Because that's what Joker is already. He's a twisted gangster, right?
Yeah.
And he was trying to add the gangsta to the gangster part of it, right?
Wait, say it again, Tom. I didn't hear you. You do it one more time.
You heard me.
You trying to be gangster.
He said,
You
do it
heard
one more
me.
time.
Gangsta. You know what I'm saying.
Gangsta.
That, yes.
The bling
He
of
was-
gangsters.
Yeah. You don't
Hard
want
A.
E.
No
You don't want
hard A.
No ER. It's the A. The gangster.
If you're gonna do that, I'm sorry. That's where you actually. I'm gonna fucking say it. It may sound racist, but if you're gonna do that, then you have to have somebody black play the Joker. You can't bring some white boy in
No.
And then hence the answer is what, Jay? Don't fucking do it, right?
That's probably the best answer.
That's true. That's true.
You're creating a whole other stream because then you'd have to have a black actor in whiteface. Now, what would happen
That's
there?
my point. Is it just wouldn't fucking work? It doesn't
work.
work.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because when we were talking about earlier, movies you can't do, we couldn't do Tropic Thunder.
No,
you couldn't do Tropic Thunder right now.
It's too
Thunder is also a good one.
Playing
yeah.
a dude disguised as another dude.
I just had my wife watch that for the first time a few nights ago.
Really?
Funny, man.
Joker.
Everybody I know who watched that, and obviously, kind of black. Nobody cared about that, bro. Nobody cared about that. It's just now people acting like, oh my god, he was doing blackface, but he was making fun of the fact that people did that. It wasn't the fact that he was doing it maliciously.
No, he's
come
making
on,
that
man.
kind of method
There's a
actor.
difference between doing it maliciously. Like he didn't do it as a caricature. You know when they put the stupid,
Oh, like Al Jolson or something, right?
that's being racist. What he did was literally like portray a black person.
He got
It was the
nominated
same
for an Oscar
vein
for it.
as when Mel Brooks made fun of stupid white people by making Blazing Saddles.
Exactly. Well, no, that's
I mean,
what I
that
love
was-
about Downey's character in the movie. Even is by the time he gets to that one point, he realizes he's so fucking confused he don't even know who the fuck he is anymore.
Yeah,
That's the joke. Like that's the joke. Not fact that
the
he's
funniest
black.
part. The funny part in it is like when he like, what do you mean, you people? And like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Making fun of the fact that it's not even. That's the point. Is like if you watch that movie and you think it's making fun of somebody in blackface or making fun of black people, then you obviously are that stupid that you do not deserve to be watching that movie because that is not the point of the joke.
Amen.
The point of the joke is that he's one of these actors that gets, and he's a Jared Leto type. He gets so fucking deep into his goddamn roles that he just doesn't even realize when he's being that stupid. And then on top of it, like I said, by the middle of the movie, he's like, I don't even know who the fuck I am anymore. Because he's never been himself.
Exactly.
Jim Carrey
And bringing
has
it
that
back
problem.
to Spider-Man, that opening
Jim
scene
Carrey,
with the fake trailer with him and Tobey Maguire playing the two priests.
I love that. That was amazing. I love that fucking movie. I don't care what anybody says. Captain Hare says, I miss the days when movies went to hell over Rothman being a cheapskate who hated superheroes and Pascal wrote emails like a child instead of JJ and KK trying to remake franchises in their own image. In some way, Captain Hare, I do, but if it wasn't for those things that you just mentioned not being the case, we wouldn't have met all these fine people we have on this stream right now. I think Star Wars was the one that broke the camel's back on that.
Oh man, and speaking of that, man, like, we were talking about those. I know I was listening before, and y'all was talking about the Wire and all that stuff, and I saw that the Quartering actually had kind of pulled the string, pull the threads together. And I still said to this day, I'm like, y'all had 1 million tweets and 1,000 videos, and you didn't see me, Fatal J, Gospel, Lord Callis, because I did my video, Abu Nas. I did my video the day after The Last Jedi, and it wasn't me praising The Last Jedi. It was me dumping on The Last Jedi. So you're gonna tell me you went through 1,000 videos, you seen my brother Drunk 3PO, you didn't see us? Cause y'all full of ish. You know what I'm saying? Cause y'all wanted to paint a narrative that it's all white guys. Again, I'm so tired of that. Bro, it's not just white people who didn't like that movie. And at the end of the day, if you try to get rid of everybody off of here, let's say tomorrow you get rid of the entire fandom, the Snyder Cut fandom, the fandom menace, everybody's gone, your movie still sucked ass.
And to paraphrase Obi-Wan, strike us down will become more powerful than you can ever imagine. So
correct.
Also that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a shitty narrative that they always try to.
I hate that narrative. It really bothers me too. It really does.
Me
because
too.
It's this whole thing where like, oh, white people this and this and that, blah blah blah, and black people this. Because it's like this divide they keep making, and it's like I'm like, do you guys know? Back in the day, they were doing diversity before diversity was being cool. Look at a movie like the Last Dragon. Everybody was in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Breaking, Crush Groove, and all
this
these.
has not been
things.
a problem since like the 80s, even the 70s. You could argue.
Yeah,
in between mid and 70s, it was pretty much on.
Well, blaxploitation was a thing.
They're actively ignoring anyone that's not white, and that's really discriminatory.
That's what I actually said that. I put that in one of the comments. Says, do you guys realize? Do they realize how racist that really is? You're literally saying that black people's voices don't matter. That's exactly what you're saying when you are completely ignoring this whole side of the fandom that didn't like the movie, and you're just gonna say, "Oh, these guys don't. They're black.
Well, what
they
they try
matter."
to do.
That's what they're basically saying.
what they try to do is paint their own narrative. So what they do is they ignore any black fans, and then they'll greet Christina Ariel or one of their people, and that's the black voice for what they do. So that it's a very twisted game they do to try to switch the perspective. They ignore black voices they don't agree with, basically.
That is true, and the female voices too, because they always say it's white guys only. I could just name 1,000.
That
of the
Star Wars
in
girl
the
was the first person I saw.
Yep,
and as far as Last Jedi,
it was her. It was her. Mecca. Who else was the other one? Mara Jade. Even Mara Jade. She was in the chats before she did her videos, but I knew she didn't like the Star, Last Jedi and all that stuff. Yeah. So it was a bunch of people. Steph, all these people out there. OG Star Wars. Stephanie Janicek was one of the actual first ladies I seen talking about that too. All these women out there said they didn't like the movie, but it's just the white guys. You're not only being racist, you're being discriminatory towards women too when you put out things like that and ignore that whole portion of the fandom. Yeah, it's just annoying to me, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's like every week they come up with another reason to make another hit piece like that, and then I gotta go and make another video talking about it because it's like I'm almost tired of doing it. But if I do not talk about it, it's like that narrative just keeps flowing out there. My job as an entertainment commentator is to bounce back the stupid. It's like playing tennis. You throw some nonsense out, gotta bounce it back towards you. That's my job, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Every time they put something out stupid, that's my job. I'll put it right back to you.
All right. Well, Fezman says, Rob Idris. Rob, are you there?
How you following up that?
Fezman says, Idris Elba for Joker.
Somebody's trying to create a hashtag.
Vote.
Idris Elba can play anything you want him to.
But he's too busy being Batman, James Bond, and Jesus to be the Joker.
Yes, he is.
That's what I'm saying.
If I'm correct, he doesn't want to do any of that.
No, he doesn't.
Because he doesn't want to be the
good black actor. You need a good black actor. Idris Elba name always pop up.
Idris Elba and Michael B. Jordan are going to play every.
And Michael B. Jordan, that's the other one. It ain't no other black actor.
You know what's funny is
Jonathan Washington,
Michael B. Jordan, the young Idris Elba.
I call Michael B. Jordan the younger American and far less interesting Idris Elba.
Who can play Jon Stewart? Idris Elba. Who can play Black Lightning? Idris Elba. Who can play Black Panther? Idris Elba.
Who can play Pope John Paul II? Idris Elba.
George Washington, don't forget that. Absinthe says William Dafoe is the Joker. I like the way you think.
That's a good one.
Unfortunately, he's already in the DCU.
I think he's too old to play it though.
Because
he would be cool as an older Joker. Yeah.
Well, hey, if Arthur Fleck is canon, then maybe he can be that Joker.
Well, look, Green Goblin was Joker. That's all he was playing as Spider-Man.
Kind of, yeah.
Very
well,
true.
I was always hoping that they would say Jared Leto's Joker was actually like Jason Todd, and that's why he's so off.
Oh, I really wish that as well.
An older, cooler Joker. The Seaman says, "Where's the Les Grossman movie? We need that right now with Tom Cruise." Yeah, they were going to make one. Whatever happened to that script?
I don't know, but Tom loved that role. Like he's the one that said he wanted to be in the fat suit and just covered in hair and bald.
He's Les like Grossman in real life.
Yes. He was so good too. He was so good in that it was just terrible.
And the dancing, that was fantastic.
Oh God, that was good.
All right, Captain Hair has a question. Wait, hold up. Who can play Fatal J?
Idris Elba. Idris Elba.
Listen, you know what's crazy when y'all talk about the Green Lantern? I haven't played. Did y'all? I know. I'm in.
Hello, Jane.
I'm in a bad spot right now, but I will say, just for the record, the CW is my guilty pleasure. I will say that.
You are in a really bad spot.
What's that?
You must be in a really bad spot. I feel for you, sir.
Listen, you know what brought me into was really Melissa Benoist. Melissa Benoist is actually kind of hot. I'm just sorry, but
she's pretty.
Yeah.
Hey, Javicia Leslie is hot, even if she.
Definitely. Not for nothing. The CW definitely they know how to. They hire some talent. Let's get some straight. They definitely do. But
very talented
at the end of the Arrow, the last season, they actually showed John Diggle getting the Green Lantern ring, which would have been pretty cool to see them go with that.
Well, his dad or stepdad is played by Ernie Hudson, who's I think General Stewart.
Wait,
so
Ernie
they're
Hudson
trying to say that
I quit watching.
John Stewart, and I remember reading this in some of the trades. But Berlanti's still pushing for his own Green Lantern with what's his name? That actor who plays John Diggle.
Yeah, I Joe Blanket's name too. But
so they're going to try and say that his real last name is Stewart.
Yeah, they were trying to suggest that. Yeah.
Cool.
Midnight Edge. I'm surprised. I'm surprised Midnight Edge never had Ernie Hudson on the show.
I know, right?
Y'all need to make that happen.
Somebody know him? Let us know.
Y'all know all the Hollywood big stars. Y'all can
I don't know everybody. I know some.
Okay.
Daryl Brewer.
Let me just jump in real quick. I've got to run, Tom. I just want to say thanks for having me on before
I'm about to say, because you said that an hour ago in the private chat.
Yeah, we're gonna be.
No, I know, because it's 7:15 now, and I do have to run it just real quick. We've got 534 people watching. We've only got 363 likes. Everybody, make sure you smack that like button before you head out of here.
Smash that like button and like that smash button.
It's been a pleasure to share the screen with all of you fine gentlemen, and I hope to see you again soon. Tom, thanks again. God bless Midnight's Edge. You all take care.
Hey, take it easy. Nice meeting you.
Thanks, Silent Renegade.
Yeah, we're actually going to be ending here soon anyway, and then Jesse shows up just as valiantly.
Sorry, Jesse, you got my spot, brother. Take care.
I'll keep it warm, a little bit moist.
Jesse, what you lighting up?
Warm and a little bit moist.
Jesse, what you lighting up? That green monster?
No, just a Marlboro. I've been fancy lately, and I've been using the weed vape.
Ooh. Yeah, he's also got a penguin cigarette holder too.
Do y'all know they got the vapor games where people vape and do competitions?
Oh God!
Oh yeah, I could believe it.
Daryl,
those fancy pants, they blew big clouds of that vape smoke.
You know who the original vapor is? That caterpillar off of Alice in Wonderland.
The one with the hookah?
Yeah, shout out to him.
Daryl Brewer sends in $15. It says JJ and KK didn't learn anything from Downey and Tropic Thunder. You never go full retard.
Yeah, exactly.
That was actually Stiller. Ben Stiller went full retard.
Yeah,
he did.
That's true. Dash DC says Marty Feldman is Joker. Isn't he dead?
Yeah, sadly, I think he did pass away.
Yeah.
Very dead.
R.I.P. Marty Feldman.
DCV Titan says, who can play Idris Elba? Natalie Portman.
Man, did y'all see how cut up Natalie Portman is now?
Is that real or is that? I heard that was Photoshop.
I think it's a bodysuit.
I think it looks more like a bodysuit.
She was looking super swole.
There's no way she got that jacked and
she was
short
cut
time.
up.
I was like, wow, she's way more swole than Robert Pattinson.
I was looking at myself in the mirror like, hey, why I can't get it together?
Exactly. I'm like,
I was looking in the mirror all depressed, like I can't get it together. And here is a woman more cut up than me.
Well, you gotta remember when they do these roles, they getting the best trainers, the best food.
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
true.
it's all. And remember, look, you could pick up. You know how to say, I pick things up, put things down. You can do that all day, but if you're not doing the right, it's science. You got to make sure that. And I'm not talking about
That's very true.
It's actual science. You need to know your body type. You need to. I know a lot of people say don't count calories, but when I was actually working out all the time, I was doing all that. And trust me, I did not juice at all. And people thought I was juicing because I was
counting calories
doing
is important, and the way all the different chemicals in the food affect your hormone balance as well.
Well, look here, I'm trying to cheat. Give me that stuff Stallone is taking. I want the steroids, baby. Yeah.
Well, listen, I want your heart to be able to move, so I'm not sure, man.
Well,
your heart got to
Stallone,
work.
all right, because Stallone about 200 years old and his body is real.
True, that's true.
So he must be on the. That's the real steroids they give to the.
Yeah, you got that. See, yeah, we don't get those.
Now we get the dirty stuff.
I knew a guy who was on
steroids you can find on the
before.
counter like Advil.
I knew this guy who was on steroids, and he was getting horse steroids from Greece, and he was a big old boy, but he was weak as shit. It was like his muscles were made out of water balloons. Like it was
creatine, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, honestly, like I did take creatine for a little bit. Creatine does add a lot of water mass to you. And that's what it does. It's really mostly show. But if you're doing creatine, you got to make sure that you are actually working out. Like if you're doing it every day, eating the right foods and all that stuff, it works out. It works out.
So if you have creatine and you don't work out, you just turn into a big fat blob.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Maybe I should stop eating this stuff.
Darksblade says, kind of like Cartman in that one episode with the weight gain stuff or the 5,000 or whatever it was. Yeah.
He's not fat. He's ripped.
Yeah. The Three Joker storyline. Then you can do Idris Elba, Idris Michael B. Indents.
Oh,
there you go.
And then Darksblade comes back again with, and the Grossman movie probably never happened because of Harvey. You're probably right. And Sandra just says moist very loudly.
Moist.
BK.
It moist happened.
With that, I want to tell you all to check out all these gentlemen's channels, including Vigilante, who was in here earlier. Check out Fatal J. Check out Script Doctor. Check out Demogeny. What?
You said who was here earlier? Like
Valiant. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Valiant here.
Yeah. Vigilante Williamson. Check out his channel. Check out Jesse's channel as well. Rob does some streaming now and then. Who else? A partridge in a pear tree.
2 turtle doves, 3 turtle doves.
Why is that whole song about birds?
I don't know. Why is it about birds?
Someone just hankering for some chicken meals, I guess. Yeah.
I guess so.
Either that or it was just a massive drug reference. Maybe.
Hey Tom, did you get a chance to see anything? I know you said you didn't see The Expanse yet, right? You didn't see it.
No, I haven't got a chance.
Oh, okay.
To do it.
Everybody keeps saying Expanse.
Yeah,
I need to
Expanse
watch
is dope, man. I freaking,
this is on Netflix, right?
No, it's on
Amazon Prime.
I chain watched that, bro. I will say, I'll say this, like a lot of people were saying, oh,
whoa,
Amber's still hear you.
oh, what is that?
I thought the Amber's
What about
shirt was just going to be a white shirt with like brown streaks all over it, like it was the sheet itself made into a shirt.
I'm not sure that would have sold as much.
No,
Probably way more.
Captain Harris says $5
$5
to promote Rob's rambling streams on his channel. I want more.
Rob, Tom, you still do the Sunday Fun Day?
Oh, from time to time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did one this last Sunday. We showed this one here.
It's the fan. It's the Captain Lewis.
Mario, what happened?
Luigi, I hit the block. I hit it with my head.
Why did you hit the block?
I thought there'd be a single gold coin. Some of them have coins.
Really?
No! Bro,
I heard the snap.
That's
I
didn't make that. That's on the Pete
Yo,
Holmes
that's
show.
hilarious.
He did a bunch of them. Look up realistic Mario. That's all you need to do. You'll find.
Okay.
Now we know what happens to Hollywood writers before they start writing stuff. They
There's
hit
a
their
couple of
heads
them.
on blocks.
Because Tom,
And then
that
they write what
sound
they
like you. That sound like
I
something
wish
you
it
would do.
was me, but I wish I made that, man. No, Pete Holmes.
That
he
was
did a few other ones.
hilarious.
There's another one where he gets Yoshi, and Yoshi like bites his fucking arm off and shit.
Dinosaur, yeah.
My only problem with that is there's way more pixels than the original.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
It's like 10 times as detailed.
Luigi, no!
I thought that was Tom.
Just how he was broken, like he twisted
Oh,
up.
the pain isn't getting worse.
He broke his neck completely. That was.
Oh yeah, he's done.
I saw that. The first thing I thought I was Rob. It's Rob's Mario.
Yep.
It's a Rob Mario.
You remember they used to have this? I remember back in the day they used to have this thing called Super Mario Z. Did you ever see that?
Not ringing a bell.
I don't know if they still have. It probably got sued to shit though because it was like Mario mixed with Dragon Ball Z. It was crazy.
Well,
Now,
I
this
got this weird game called Kung Fu Mario on the emulator, the Nintendo emulator, and it's like straight from Japan or something. But he's like doing kung fu moves, and it's a big Mario head pasted on top of it. It's just weird.
I just want to know this. This has been the rumor of all time for the original Mario on the NES. On the first stage, can you really jump over the flag?
You can jump over the flag on several stages, actually, and all you end up doing is you go to an endless.
Is it the minus zone? Did anybody ever go to the minus zone?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So
I
can
tried
you
to do
jump
the
over the
minus zone
flag?
so
You
many
can
times.
jump over the flag.
Yeah, you can jump over the flag, but you just end up going to endless loops of the same shit. And then the minus zone, depending on which version you have, there's like 100 levels that were never used, and it's just all fucked up versions of them and shit. Yeah, but I think there's only a couple on the game, and you can fry the game if you try to do it on the NES version, or fry your actual system. I mean,
The mining zone is called?
the minus
zone.
Yeah,
Minus-
it's basically the game, but it's like it was a bunch of levels that were hidden in the original beta.
Does the screen go kind of whitish when that happens?
Well, what it does is it inverses into negative colors. That's why they call it the minus zone.
I've seen this before back in the day.
But it
and I
is
thought was
actually
just
it's a
messed up.
buttload of levels that they never used in the game, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
I always wanted to try to get that. I never got it there though.
Yeah, if
And
you have
what
the
the
original,
freak is the difference between a King Koopa and a Bowser? I thought they was the same person.
they're all
They
Bowser
are.
except for the last one is King Koopa.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Bowser's like a name or a race, I guess.
Yeah,
I
Bowser. Bowser, I thought
Unless
was a family
the
name.
rumors are true about Peach being.
they kind of turned it into the family
mom.
name, Jesse. Yeah,
because there was the Koopa kids.
yeah, they eventually kind of used it like a family name, but like
Who's
yeah,
the
it's
baby
basically
mama
their
Peach?
species kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hashtag Princess Peach is
keeps
a
getting
neglectful
keeps
mother.
getting kidnapped. Air
Oh,
quotes.
Thomas
Getting
said
kidnapped.
Thomas said Koopa is the Japanese name for Bowser.
I
Gotcha.
did make a bad cartoon back in the day where Hannibal Lecter's like a therapist and he's talking to a lot of people and he ends up talking to Mario and Mario's there because he's got an issue with because all of his girlfriends keep getting kidnapped by big monsters.
Y'all remember that Mario movie?
Yeah.
I do remember that.
The Koopa with the little head for some reason.
The Goombas, yeah, with the little tiny
Goombas.
heads, and they would just.
Balls.
Yeah, that was
Balls is right.
That wasn't a good game adaptation at all.
You know, 7-year-old me had no clue that was a bad movie because when you're
Me
a
too.
kid, you're always
I enjoyed
I knew it
the
was
movie,
bad.
but yeah.
When I was a
Me
kid,
and my
I
brother
was hyped
sitting
to
there
see
waiting
that
for
movie.
the Mario Brothers movie to start until it ended.
7-year-old me didn't know Street Fighter was a bad movie either.
Oh, that was
Well,
a terrible
that
movie.
wasn't a bad movie. That was an excellent film. It
I
starred
thought
in
that
Citizen
movie was
Kane.
dope too when I was young. I said, "Wow, Jean-Claude Van Damme really plays a good cow."
Yeah.
The worst part about that for me because I'm all about Street Fighter. I'm like Street Fighter is not about Guile. Guile is a secondary character.
Yeah.
It's about
He
Ryu
actually
and
get beat
Ken.
up a lot. If you look at the story, Guy get beat up a lot. in
He
Street
does. He can't beat Bison. Bison will wipe the floor with him. he doesn't use Hado at all. Like the Hado is the opposite of psycho power. It can hurt him.
I just think it was funny they got an American soldier with a French accent.
Yeah, that is true. Exactly.
The guy that made a movie called Legionnaire.
Isn't he Belgium anyway?
Did y'all know that Jean-Claude Van Damme is a fraud though? Like he didn't know no martial arts or nothing. That's stunt stuff.
He got beat up by a biker.
Oh man, I didn't know that. I knew Steven Seagal was, but not that.
Yeah,
he's a
JCVD man. That's a good movie.
There's a famous story where he messed with some Hell's Angels guy in a bar, and the guy looks at him and he just gives him one hammer fist and just knocked him out.
Chuck Zito. The guy's name was Chuck Zito. Chuck Zito used to go on Howard Stern show all the time. He was on that show Oz.
Did you see the Legend of Chung Lee? Did you ever see that one?
Cage, get over here. It's time for brutality.
Chuck was eating a steak at Scores, and someone said to him,
"Hey, Scores."
Yeah, it was at Scores.
Wow,
sounds really old school Howard Stern now.
And he goes, "Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme's over there. He's talking shit about you." And he goes, "Are you talking about me?" Yeah. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, Chuck. I think you're full of shit. I don't think you're tough." And he punches Van Damme right in the face, and he went down like a sack of potatoes.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was going to say that the other
Chuck went back to eating his steak.
You know the story of Johnny Cage. How Johnny Cage and Mortal Kombat always try to prove that he's a real martial artist. Ain't it kind of funny? He looks
he was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, he was supposed to be. They were trying to make him the whole. If I remember correctly, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But when they made Mortal Kombat, it was supposed to be like a Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It was.
Vehicle.
It started out as his. That's why they did the actual capturing of the characters instead of it being like like normally what they would just draw and animate them. Like they actually that was why they did that, is because they were going to have Van Damme be in the game, and then I don't remember what happened in the process, but he fell out or whatever happened, then he just wasn't in it. Because I believe his he originally did do a bunch of work for it, but they just never used it. But then, they just basically made Johnny Cage as a character to kind of poke fun at him and replace the character that was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's much better this way.
Yeah, I mean, the game ended up being
even though he's not going to be in it, and it's a new one, right? He's not going to be.
I tried to beat myself
straight white
the other
male,
night.
unfortunately.
Yeah, just think about that, though. Man. That's a great question to kind of go out on, and then we'll end this here because we've been here for a while. But do you think the Mortal Kombat game would be the classic it is today if it was like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Mortal Kombat, if it was all about him?
No,
I don't think so either.
No, it would be like the Aerosmith.
Be like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Kind of cool, but kind of fade away.
Yeah. Even though Mike Tyson's Punch Out is still a classic.
Anybody beat Tyson? Is still fun as shit.
See, they took Mike out of the game.
Anybody beat Tyson? That's all I want to know. Did you beat Tyson?
Yeah.
I beat Tyson.
I beat him all the time.
I never beat Tyson.
They took him out of the game.
I figured out you had to watch
two
his eyes.
versions.
You got to watch his eyes.
One of the versions doesn't even have Tyson.
Yeah,
that's
a punch out.
That's a punch out. That's punch out. It's not Mike Tyson.
They took him out when he got in trouble when he went to jail.
Yeah, because the original game was actually Punch Out, and then Mike Tyson's had he did the sign or whatever. I remember as a kid when that game came out, and you see Mike and he had the big screen, and he's like, "Yeah, you want to beat me?" I'm like, I was hyped as a kid. I was like, I want to play that game.
It was one of the better Nintendo games at the time.
Oh, that was one of my favorite Nintendo games.
I got a question for the crowd. Does anybody think they could knock out Mike Tyson with a free shot?
No, man.
No.
I wouldn't.
A couple of punches.
You trying to commit suicide or something?
He said it was a free shot.
Do I need to kick him?
He trained to take punches. He trained to take punches. No,
if I was a trained UFC fighter, I wouldn't say yes.
I would kick him in the nuts and run.
If you hit him with everything you got and he's still standing, that's your ass, sir.
That's where you run.
And you see where his reflexes still are?
I'm a fat kid, but I can run in sprints.
No,
that's why I love
he was very light on Roy Jones.
Bitches and shit like that. Like
who's he know he can beat him.
Like who's the Irish kid with the big mouth?
Bill Burr.
Conor
McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah. Mike Tyson was like, I think he's a bitch. It's like, yeah, well, I guess you get to say that because you get to say that about anybody, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
If I had Conor McGregor's skill, I wouldn't say, yeah, I'll take a free punch. No. I've seen his reflexes are still way too fast.
He got reflexes, and you got to make sure if you're gonna hit Mike, man, you better make sure you got some coins in your knuckles. You better have like a roll of coins.
Or 30
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to deck you back. I'm just saying as a scientific experiment, just to prove that.
I might. I don't know.
SHS you don't try.
SHS Rebels 08 says release the Tom Batman of Batman AI. That's not a horrible idea. That could be worth doing. Latino Slant 8 Ball. How you doing?
Latino
Hey,
Slant.
hail Tom Fatal.
Congrats on 1K.
Badass channel. Also, why YouTube's most dangerous homie vigilante.
Latino Slant, great charity stream. Tom, I see you was on there. Very awesome. I enjoyed myself on that one.
Awesome.
Had a good time.
Yeah, the last one of Paul's I watched was that interview with the kid from Fluffy's show, and I couldn't believe how young that kid was. I mean, like, I'm 38 now, and I'm just like these kids. Like, this kid has no idea how fucking set he is. Like, you could be set for life right now.
Who are you talking
and
about?
you're like, what, 17? There's Fluffy, the comedian, Iglesias. He's got a new show, and he's.
You know who you talking about? The big old dude, the comedian, the Hispanic man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, he plays a teacher.
Okay.
Anyway, one of the kids on the show is Paulie interviewed him last week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice kid.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to leave us on my single, which you can pick up now on iTunes. For those of you who haven't heard it, here we go. Earthquaking, booty shaking, let's get this fucker started. High class, big brass, pretty little lions in a row. No cash, so crass, wrap it up in a bow. I'm so heavy, my head hangs low. When you gonna tell me what you don't know? The whole world's gone crazy, but that's okay now. Don't worry, baby, I won't fade away. Get down on your knees today, but I don't want you to pray. No. Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to do. First glance, last chance, lust at first sight. No finance, no romance, who will win the fight? It's a tug of war with the heart all night. But if we get a happy ending, we'll be alright. No promises, no demands, you're in command. But I can change the rule just like you can. If you don't like it, then there's a door. Will that be credit, cash, check, or money order? Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to